Did they pick? Who they got?
That is Eklund, yeah. Boy, they got a steal, man.
My brother. Yep. Mm-hmm.
They got a steal.
That's my brother there. Eklund.
We're live.
Good to see him.
Listen, he has a younger brother there who's a good hockey player too.
Wow,
Yeah.
Wow, Doug Wilson Jr. looks like it's a spitting image of his dad.
Well, I'll tell you, I have frequent contact with Doug Wilson Jr. because we are both New York Jets fans, and we talk about the Jets all the time on email.
Now,
That's all I will divulge.
I did hold him in high regard until I just heard that. And Anthony must not be able to hear us. Can you hear us, Anthony?
I'm okay. Yeah, I can hear you guys now. It was okay. The camera wasn't working. It was like the computer wasn't reading my camera, and I had to go reboot the whole computer. So
all right.
Sorry, guys.
Well, pretty sure everybody.
Yeah, we're ready for disco.
Yeah, Denny Terrio has joined us.
You're gonna wear that. Is he gonna wear that? You're gonna wear that mask with it as well? The same mask you had the other.
The funny thing about this shirt is I actually bought it. We're building a puppet out of this material.
So okay,
that's
why
I'm not actually owning it, but I have it right now. I haven't cut it up yet. So hey,
why don't we do this? Why don't we analyze the pick and then talk about some of the moves?
Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna talk about. We'll stay on the draft for the beginning of this thing, and we'll get to the moves later because this is still really fascinating. I think.
All right. So the first few picks were chalk, Russ. You know, Owen Power.
No surprise.
Owen Power going to the Sabres. I heard yesterday it was no doubt they were going to take him. I will
say this one thing about that, Mike, and I got this from a good source that at the last minute Columbus did make a play for that pick with their 5th and the 11th overall that they had. They had the 2 picks that they tried.
Take a shot at it.
They took a shot. It didn't work, but they did. There was a little bit of a delay because of that.
I don't think if they had offered them all 4 first-round picks that they have that they would have done it. But
no.
So, okay, number 2 goes to Seattle, and Seattle takes Matty Beniers. Russ has been talking about Beniers a lot for a long time. So,
no shock. And it's a great kid to get for that team, too, because, again, what I said on another show is you can't, as your first pick, you can't pick a Patrick Stefan. You can't. And Beniers won't be that. He will be a guaranteed NHLer. He could be a top liner, but he's most likely a second liner, but he could be a top liner. He does everything well. And the way he cuts and skates, nobody else does that like him. And he also has a great personality. So, like, people in Seattle will love him.
Yes, I'll be complimentary of the ESPN coverage, but somebody in Columbus has got to stop some 12-year-old girl from being in the background and trying to show off her
I saw that
accoutrement. Okay, the third.
I don't know what they move that pick. Apparently, San Jose was trying to trade that pick right there, but didn't expect Eklund to be there. So
I don't need to see Kirk Herbstreit on NHL Draft Day either. ESPN's not going to have me on for the NFL draft, Anthony, before you say something complimentary. So I'm saying Kirk Herbstreit, stay away from the NHL draft. It's stupid. The floor is yours.
You're just you are. And here I thought Mike was going to lap the field in curmudgeonly behavior this evening.
Yes, I'm thinking ESPN.
I didn't know you were entitled to be invited to.
All right, the Kings are up. The Kings are making their pick right now.
Stop pigeonholing.
I like that Chris Byrne, an amateur scout, they have making the pick.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. They have picked a very happy guy here.
You're ahead of me.
Oh, it's Brad Clarke. Okay.
Brad Clarke. He's got a Flyers jersey behind him. I guess these are the various places he's played. How you supposed to play for a team with a Flyers logo?
No, I don't think he did, though.
It looks like it. I mean, these have to be his jerseys, I would think, don't you think?
I don't know if it's his jerseys.
That's a Flyers jersey.
It is. It's like a junior Flyers jersey, but I don't know where.
Look like his jerseys.
Yeah, I don't know where he would have done that. But
his brother is on the
New Jersey
Devils as well, right? This was the interesting thing about this.
Brand Clarke, yeah. He was a 3rd-round pick for them. They
expected him to be there. I don't think the Kings kind of were surprised by that too.
I was told if he was there, they were taking him. So I'm not shocked that they took him. He is there because he still has to work on his skating. Like, he's got everything else. He's got a great hockey IQ. He's terrific in the offensive zone. He's a guy that goes in the offensive zone. He's one of those defensemen that if he goes in deep, he now creates a lot of other options for all the other guys who are out there. So he creates a lot. And he did play over in Slovakia with Graham Graham always there for 6 games, but he played there for a while. Mm-hmm. He's really good, but his skating, if you watch him in open ice, like if he's trying to do a touch-up, he is skating twice as hard as he needs to. So if he can improve his skating, he will be something special.
Now, okay, so third overall is Anaheim, and they go for Mason McTavish.
A very Bob Murray pick there. Physical forward.
There are guys with a better high ceiling, though. That's the interesting thing. He will make it. Bob Murray got a guy that will make it to the NHL. He'll be really good. He scores around the net. He plays defense. He plays hard, like Anthony said. But there are guys that are higher end than he is. And it's like, okay, I mean, I think we have turned into a league now that is going for size and grit over a lot of skill now. I think we're even seeing it in the draft.
On the clock now, we have the Phoenix Coyotes, and it feels like the Coyotes like were grounded and then like traded their next 3 allowances to their sister. They get a pick. Like it doesn't feel right that they got back here. After being bad, they somehow traded their
in the spirit today of the Cleveland Indians changing their name to the Cleveland Guardians. Jesus,
I'm fine with it.
No, the Spiders would have been better. The Arizona Coyotes should change their name to the Arizona Garbage Cans because they have collected every bad contract in the NHL just to get draft picks because their general manager got penalized.
Why don't you just call them the Arizona Clearinghouse?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna obviously.
That's what I'm calling them.
A few trades were made this afternoon. We're going to talk about.
I do want to give my score too. So I'm 4 out of 8 on my mock. I only did a top 10, and actually, I think in this draft, as crazy as it's been, 4 out of 8 is actually pretty good.
I mean, and I'll tell you the thing here that's pretty astonishing that you do have to remember is the fact that 4 of the first 5 picks were Michigan.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
4, I thought it was 3. Who was the 4th? So Luke Hughes was Hughes, right?
Yeah, Luke Hughes
and Ken Johnson too. So Ken Johnson being earlier than people thought. Yeah. So this is all right. So going to Phoenix Coyotes, which is probably Arizona. Sorry, you've been drafted by the Coyotes. Hooray! Moment.
And there's, by the way, there's a couple of other guys, Mackie Samoskevich and Dylan Duke, also will be Michigan guys. Also will go in the first round, and so that's that. But I'll tell you what, the all-time curmudgeon, and Anthony will agree with this, is Adam Woden, because when I told him the guys that are going there, he basically is like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much talent they have from the NHL level. They will never win. And I'm like, listen, you never know when that's going to change. And if it's ever going to change, it's going to change with this team. But I get what he's saying because he's never seen it happen before.
I like this one, Gannon. I just want to tell you, I appreciate the comment. The Atari ET landfill is what the Coyotes are.
Yeah, the ET game was that got destroyed.
Atari put out this major game when ET was released, and it was like this major arcade game, and it was the biggest thing in the world, but it had a level that you couldn't beat.
Yeah, it was full of glitches too, wasn't it?
You were stuck. There was one level you could not get past. So right. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. People just completely and so they made up billions of them because they did this huge marketing deal with the movie.
Yeah,
and they end up throwing them all away in a landfill somewhere. And there's been there's been a hunt for the landfill ever since. Like there are people who try to find the stock of them. Really
Listen, it's no different than the top space.
One decade's trash is another's treasure. Apparently,
it's true. I mean, eventually, it's worth something. If you have that game, it's worth it now. But it's funny because I remember I bought it right away. My parents, I'm like, I got to get the ET game because I was just a huge ET and Atari fan. And I remember staying up all night, getting stuck in this ditch that ET got stuck in, that you could never get it. There was no way out of it. And this is before the internet, so you had no way of knowing there was no way out of it. Like you couldn't go online and you didn't know everybody else was frustrated unless you had a friend who also had the game. You had no way of what am I doing wrong? This can't be possible. So you have all these people around the world getting stuck on the same level. I'm
going to give you the equivalent to this. In the 50s, a guy named Cy Berger, who was like the father of trading cards, dumped a whole bunch of, I want to say it was the 54 tops with the Mantle rookies in the harbor in New York, dumped them because they weren't selling. He created his own. I said 54, right? Isn't it?
No, 51.
51. Okay. And he created his own scarcity by doing that. So there's somewhere in the bottom of the sea there are a bunch of Topps cards too. So the same as you're looking for that.
I mean, unless they were preserved at this point now, they're just they're literally part of the.
Yeah.
This is like the 1951 version of the GameStop. The stock thing that happened.
Yep.
Okay, so 4th overall, Luke Hughes.
No pressure on New Jersey to take him, by the way. I mean, he's just sitting right next to his brother Jack.
I mean, it was exactly.
I mean, how the hell can New Jersey not like I was told flat out from a really good source in New Jersey, the room in New Jersey, the scouts and everybody were dead split between Eklund and Hughes if Eklund was available there, and they didn't know what they were going to do if that happened.
Well, a lot of them like Clarke too.
They were almost hoping Eklund would be taken at 3. When he wasn't, I was like, oh, geez. But you can tell the way Jack's reaction to this was. You could tell that Jack didn't know 100% that they were doing this.
Can I? I know this is going to be perceived as Mike being the bitterman, but they have on the draft board here at 11 or 12, wherever the pick was, Arizona Coyotes pick forfeited. Wouldn't it make sense if the NHL said you're not allowed to trade up into the first round? Because
it's interesting. It's you can't do that. But I like the fact that they put it on there, but so we know they're in trouble. Like I think that you want to know that they got in trouble. This is like you can't just take that pick out. You have to make Columbus still traded for the 12th pick. I don't care that there's not an 11th pick.
Arizona took Dylan Guenther.
Yeah, I had him at 9, so it looks like I'm going to be 5 out of 10.
It's good.
In the mock.
I like Guenther a lot.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Hughes, but this is a great marketing tool. For Devils to have.
It's awesome, and Hughes is almost a year younger too. Mike, remember that? Like that's
no. But we have to go with the reality is he's a year younger. He's going to go to Michigan, but they are going to film and do a lot of things. You got to remember, there's never been 2 Jewish brothers on an NHL team ever, and I'm not sure. Unless you go back to like the early 1900s, there ever been on any baseball team either. Like
I don't think so. I mean,
it's a rarity. I mean, so they were going to market the hell out of all these things, but there's a really good chance that the 4 guys that went after him could be better than him.
Yeah,
there's a chance of that,
right.
And
there's a chance. But I like the kid's cockiness. Whenever I hear him interview,
sure.
I mean, and now they have to find a way to get Quinn out of Vancouver.
They will never get him out of Vancouver. I shouldn't say never.
Don't say never.
I shouldn't say never, but it will take a while.
I mean, Vancouver did some things today that are going to make some people pretty difficult to sign in the future. So anything is possible. But we'll get into that later because there were a couple trades made today.
Let's continue with it. Okay, so
So now we've got on the clock are the.
I'll say one thing about Guenther. He has one of the better shots in the draft, and he's got a great hockey IQ. I think his skating needs work, and he's okay defensively. He needs work on that too. But for the Coyotes, they actually haven't had a guy like this in a while, so it's good for them. So
5th overall, Columbus. John Davidson announces the pick in front of a throng of fans, which I was like, there are all these places like New Jersey and Columbus have tons of fans, and it's like, why couldn't they had the draft in front of fans? But anyway, they take Kent Johnson, another Michigander, Russ.
Yep.
Now he's
another Canadian Michigander. They have two Canadians going there.
He seems to have more question marks than the other Michigan players that were taken ahead of him.
I mean, only because they were taken ahead. I don't think there's big question marks. He's not physically mature, right? So that's a thing that's going to take a little while. But like, he's a guy that has a great shot. He's got great puck possession, super fast hands. He's already done the Svetch in like the BCHL game, and he'll probably be able to do it in the NHL. But he really knows how to make his own space with Deeks. This guy's a great skater. You put like 10, 15 pounds of muscle on him, and he will be a very dangerous NHLer. And so I think in that regard, I'm not worried about it.
Boucher said on the broadcast that
Jesper, actually. So someone is saying Jesper here for Ottawa. Is that possible?
Yeah, it is possible because there was talk of that.
This is what our Ottawa writer just texted me.
No, he could be right about that. There has been some talk about that.
But Boucher said that Johnson 3 years ago was 4'11", and he's 6'1" or 6'2" now.
Right, and that's why he's so thin right now.
Yeah. Okay, 6th overall. When Eck and I got on the room here, and we're saying Eklund makes total sense. It's they had Lucas Raymond now. And they take Edvinsson, Russ. And this is the thing. The trend now are the Twin Towers, or at least 2 or 3 big defensemen. And now Sider, Edvinsson. There's your Twin Towers for the next.
That's what I'm saying. It's a definite trend now. it's definitely affecting the draft, but not with this pick. I mean, Edvinsson's a hell of a player. Sure. He has a really good offensive game, a howitzer of a shot. He hits people in the corners. He does need to work on his skating because as a bigger guy, it's not all there yet, but that's okay. That's something that will take a little time. And look, right now at the level he's been at, he hasn't really had to play at top speed, like what you would consider NHL top speed. But if people want to go back, look at a game against Latvia where he just destroyed them. I think he had 2 goals. He was creaming people in the corners. This is during the under 18. So he's a really good prospect. I will not call him Victor Hedman, though, because Victor Hedman's like in his own.
God, would everybody please? I heard like, well, the comparable to Owen Power is Victor Hedman.
I know.
Christ, would you please stop with the comparables?
Well, it's the only thing. I mean, I know Russ hates to do it, and everybody hates to do it, but it is the only way that for most of us out there, it's the only thing we can really kind of relate to.
Heck, like I said in the Buzzcast this afternoon, it puts too much pressure on players. I think it's weak. It's like, just okay, just say he's got this, he's got that. You don't have, they don't do it as much in like the NFL or the NBA. They seem to do it a lot in the NHL, and I don't get it. But anyway,
my wife just texted me, why is the cheesy family photo in the podcast today in the upper right hand corner? That is
yeah.
That's the 4 of us right there. Anyway, all right. Moving over.
I will say this, and Anthony will agree with this.
Crap. There you go.
The Paul Holmgren press conference with Sam Morin mentioning Chris Pronger was not good for Sam Morin.
No, and I hate when they do, and that's it. I've said that before. I hate when they do this.
Here's Pierre Dorian, one of the 2 Pierres now.
Watch your language, Michael. Watch your language.
I know.
Yeah, this is coming from Big Ball. Like, come on, man.
Pierre sounds like a disease old people get. Okay, here we go. Pierre Dorian. Making the selection, and the sound down, so I can't hear it.
Yeah, Wallstedt. I read his lips.
Wallstedt?
Yep.
He does not look happy.
No. He's just.
Well, that's because he's got Eugene Melnick.
No,
it's Tyler Boucher.
Boucher.
I'm a bad lip reader.
I'm like, hey, where is Brian Boucher? Where is he?
Okay, I want to say.
Oh, there he is.
Russ. You talked about
good
him
for Brian, man.
You talked about him as a dark horse that maybe low first round, high second round, and he goes 10.
This is proof positive. Now we are in a different era, guys, because I just talked about this on another show with a bunch of guys who do a lot of scouting, and I said I would think Tyler Boucher in a normal year would go somewhere around anywhere from 28 to 40. But I said this year he's going to go higher than that, based on what everybody feels like their needs are. This is unbelievable, him going here. Now, he's a great kid. I had a long conversation with him. He is good around the net like they're showing. Yeah. It's not like he could score from a lot of places on the ice, but the best quote he gave is, I finish people and I finish them hard. And that's great. He does. he really
so
embraces.
He's like the street fight guy,
No. Right. He embraces that.
Who did he compare himself to?
Tom Wilson. He said he wants to be Tom Wilson, but to take him in this spot, I can't do it. And I love Tyler. He's a great kid. I can't do it.
Let's think about what Ottawa's doing here. They already have Tkachuk. I mean, this is a serious Legion of Doom line they're putting together here. This is
but he's going to Boston University. He's not fast enough yet for the NHL. He's a pretty good skater. He's probably still going to take 3 years at best.
Right. Yeah, this is not a now pick. This is a develop. I mean, it's Anthony. Just as much as we're talking about the big defensemen and teams building that core group of 3 or 4 6'3", 6'4" guys and punishing people. Also, if you as Jeff Merrick always calls the unicorn. They always call the player the power forward that you can't, if you find them, it's going to rock your organization for years. They're going for the unicorn. They're going for Wilson.
The headline I gave him based off my interview for elite prospects was he's a draft commodity. He's the only guy like this in the draft.
All right, we have Columbus now with their second pick. What are we looking at here? Because this is they have made a center. They've already gotten a center, Russ.
I mean, they might go Wallstedt. They might be the team that takes Wallstedt.
They have a goalie that is their
the Russian goalie. He's good, Mike, but you can't, again, if you think just having him and Merzlikins, who, again, Merzlikins could be nothing in 3 years, you don't turn down a potential franchise goalie just because you have two in the pipeline. It's not enough. But Fabian Lysell at some point is going to come up here.
Svechkov is a possibility.
Well,
Svechkov might be.
I think that's high for him, but it could. I mean,
maybe high, but this is a Yarmo wouldn't surprise me here.
No. In this draft and the way he went with Shaq last year, I'm not going to even try and say his last year. Anything's possible. But if it were me,
Tarasov's the Russian goalie.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But if it were me, I would take Lysell here.
Now, if he does get by this pick, Buffalo, I think, not to say that they've soured on Luukkonen, but okay, they're going to sign Allmark supposedly. I could see them taking Wallstad at 14. Okay, here it goes, Yarmo.
Yeah.
Oh, they went Sillinger. All right.
Sillinger, okay.
Makes sense. I was going to say Sillinger was right because that was the one I was zeroing in if Philadelphia was going to be able to have that pick there. But again, maybe they had an idea that Sillinger was going to go.
Maybe. I'll tell you this. Lysell has the talent to go there, but I heard he wasn't great in interviews, so he is going to drop. But I thought maybe Yarmo would look past it. Sillinger is an interesting guy because he would have played Medicine Hat, but they weren't playing. So he went back to the USHL. He played great there. And then I saw him in the All-American Prospects game while he was playing for the USHL team, not the program. And he was one of the best guys on the ice. He was a really good center. He's got a great shot. 46
points in 31 games.
But his skating needs a little work too. Yeah. But he's really good. He's good at face-offs. He's pretty much a guarantee for the NHL. Now, I don't think second line is probably where you're looking at for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he definitely you got to be sure that he visited a lot of NHL cities as a kid because his dad
Mike Sillinger. Yeah.
Mike Sillinger played for the Red Wings, the Ducks, the Canucks, the Flyers, the Lightning, the Panthers, the Senators, the Blue Jackets, the Coyotes, the Blues, the Predators, and the Islanders.
It would be easy to name the teams that he didn't play for.
I know. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 NHL teams. 14 NHL teams.
His nickname was Suitcase.
Has anybody ever played for that? Is that the most in NHL history? I mean,
close to it. Yeah.
Yes,
it's got to be. If not, I mean, and he knows. I mean, he's of course that was a while ago.
I think this pick might upset Flyers fans because I think this pick might be Chaz Lucius, and if it is, that's a guy that a lot of Flyers fans were looking forward to before they traded the pick.
Before they traded the pick. Well, like I talked about that with the Flyers, I can tell you like a lot of teams, the Flyers, especially one of them,
Sillinger
didn't care about this draft at all. Like I was told months ago, the Flyers did not care about this draft at all, which is stupid. But
holds the record. Sillinger holds the record.
That is the record, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
12, it says 12. He's played for two teams. Played for
two teams twice.
Wow.
I might have counted too quickly there, but I got Detroit.
So Calgary's on the clock. Well, okay. Why don't we? Since we
the Flyers pick is 14, but if he goes here, what I'm basically telling the chat room is he would be off the board, I guess, for the Flyers because I was getting screwed up too with that one pick. But still they're going to be sad when he gets picked. Whether
they'll feel a little bit better. If the Flyers
and you look at it, that once the pick happens, everybody's going to lose their minds anyway in Philadelphia.
Right.
While we're waiting,
I think it's going to be the next.
We will talk about the trades. I guess we should start talking about trades.
While we're waiting for that pick to come up, Anthony, we'll ask you first since you concentrate on the Flyers and you cover the Flyers, and I cover. I'm in Buffalo, so I follow the Sabres religiously. This trade was greeted with amazement by many in Buffalo because. The talk was they weren't going to get a first-round pick for Ristolainen. Instead, they got Hag, a first and a second for Ristolainen. And we haven't heard of him signing an extension. So this is right now a 1, a 2, and a serviceable NHL defenseman for a guy who's got a year left in the contract, even though I think he's a really good defenseman. Thoughts?
There is an absolute risk factor. I think people in Philadelphia, if they had sent the 46 pick in the trade instead of 14, you would have heard far less of of the saber rattling. I hate to use that phrase, but it's the truth. From the Philadelphia fan base, there is an absolute risk here. Again, in relinquishing 14, you bite your tongue until it bleeds a little bit, but then you look at it and say to yourself, who is it that we were going to be taking potentially in that spot? We're looking, especially if you're a Philadelphia, you're looking at a player who is probably 3 to 5, and maybe as many as 5 years down the line. Mm-hmm. You already have you have a decent number of prospects already in system. So I think in this circumstance, and they've looked at him for quite some time, as Chuck Fletcher said, they've been looking at him for 3 years. I think in reality, I know they were looking at him even longer.
They tried to draft him, Anthony.
They tried to draft him, exactly, originally, and he went ahead of him. So,
but that was even before Fletcher was there, right? So
they wanted him. Ristolainen has been kind of their white whale of pursuit.
He has
for a little while now, and they have to hope again that they're not Ahab and get sunk on it.
But remember, the Flyers are obsessed with big puck-moving defensemen.
Right. And again, and as Chuck Fletcher stated in the press conference that he had previously after the Ellis trade, the supply on right shot defensemen is very finite. And I think they looked at it as the balance of age, size, speed, nastiness quotient, something that Philadelphia blue line, with the exception of Sam Morin, does not have. It's an element that's important there. He can help out on the power play in this circumstance. I do think eventually they will get him signed to a long-term extension.
I think they have. I heard they have.
It's worrisome that they haven't had any discussions about it.
If the deal had just come had just come together, then again, we're still at a point where negotiations can still occur. We haven't even.
But the idea is like with the Seth Jones deal, they already hammered out a deal. If they had hammered out a deal, it would look good.
Buffalo didn't give the Flyers that permission to do that.
You're talking about a defenseman who was a franchise level defenseman that they acquired. Chicago is going to sell everything around the Seth Jones acquisition this offseason. Flyers aren't necessarily going to be selling to the level this offseason of a Rasmus Ristolainen acquisition. Just not. It's going to be more the collective. I think more the collective of Ellis and whatever else they go out and get this offseason.
So before
it's a lot of picks. The only thing I want to say the last 2 days, it's a lot of picks.
It is a lot of picks.
Here's what I put out there on Twitter today. I put out crowdsourcing. The Flyers have in essence traded Patrick Myers, Gostisbehere Hag, a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a 7th-round pick.
And a partridge in a pear.
Ellis and Ristolainen, and that's 8 for 2. What do you think? Good move, Flyers. Bad move, Flyers. I had 4,100 people respond. 75% of them saying bad move, Flyers.
Of course, as expected.
Right. But I don't think that's kind of unfair.
Well, because
I would say
Matthew
too.
Matthew Coronado is going to Calgary. It's the next pick here.
So Coronado goes.
Oh wow, Coronado really jumped.
Coronado went to 13. So now we'll see.
All right, but Brack, the majority of the people who voted against are probably the analytics nerds who hate Ristolainen.
Right. And at the end, I agree with you. And at the end of the day, if you judge by like my favorite way of judging trades, who got the best players?
Yeah.
The 2 best players in that probably are Ellis and Ristolainen. Now, the question is, we don't know what Ristolainen's going to be about. And when you think about the players the Flyers traded, I think Myers is the riskiest of them that they moved away. Patrick, second, I think Myers can definitely have a real NHL career for sure. Patrick might, of course. Beyond Hag is a serviceable middle defenseman, but beyond that, honestly, to get the 2 guys they got, which are pretty much guaranteed to be 2 of their top 4 defensemen, it's hard to get 2 top 4 defensemen in an offseason, and they did that. So
I would like to mention about Coronado.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I interviewed him about 3 months ago, so it was really early on him. There were people that doubted him in the sense that he was ripping up the USHL for the Chicago Steel like crazy now. A lot of people say, well, it's the Chicago Steel. They're like an all-star team. But the kid can skate, and he's got a great scoring ability. He even in the All-American Prospects game on a team that was so not great compared to the NTDP, he was still making plays. He just couldn't score. He doesn't take a shift off, but the only thing is he still has to improve his skating because it's good at this level. It's not good enough yet, and he has to learn how to play defense better. The one positive of him that he told me, I actually had to text him after, he could play right or left wing. And there's not a lot of guys that can do it, even though it's a right-handed shot. So that's something where a little bit of extra versatility there probably had, I had him higher than a lot of people, and I'm happy for the guy because he's a Long Island guy. I always have a soft spot.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
He could be a really good scorer. He can.
Russ has been talking about Coronado for three months in terms of a player who really impressed him. So just because somebody in the chat was asking, because we were up to number 6, just to catch up here. So 7 was Eklund. And
San Jose.
By San Jose, and we talked.
I'm gonna get an Eklund San Jose shirt, by the way. I love that. It's one of my favorite jerseys, so I'm going for that.
I would be all in on that.
Merry Christmas, Eck. We're gonna $20.
You'll never buy me anything. Go ahead.
Wow.
Wow. Cringe. Then 8, the LA Kings take Brandt Clarke.
Now, may I talk about this Devils jersey that's so close to the Flyers color now? It's like a fire red. It's like almost orange.
Yeah, and the Flyers moving more towards red all the time. That, so it's kind of like I agree with you.
It's crazy. Like this is so far away from the Devils red. I don't even know what to say.
No, what's funny about that is he's wearing Jack Hughes' jersey, right? It's an 86. It's 86 on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like because people were saying, "Oh, he knew he was going to the Devils because he had a Devils jersey there." And that's like
no.
I saw 86 on him. Like he's got his brother's jersey on.
Yeah.
Right, he's got his brother's jersey on. But you wonder in a way, like, he wants to definitely, there's got to be something about a brother. Like, I got to wear your jersey. Like, you got to think that he's not thrilled about that. Like,
he's the younger brother. He'll deal with it.
Please. He'd rather be wearing
I'm a younger brother. You have to deal with
it. Listen, my kids, we got some hand-me-downs.
Younger brothers always get abused by their older brother.
He's already in Jack Hughes' shadow now. That's the one thing about this. He comes in Jack Hughes' first overall pick, star. Luke Hughes.
They wanted to be together.
They wanted to be together. I agree, and that's awesome. But yeah, like how Quinn Hughes does not look like he could possibly be an NHL player. Like just looking at him,
he was skinnier than that when I saw him for the NTDP.
I mean, and the only person I've ever seen that was more ridiculous than that was I was there when Patrick Kane got drafted.
This is funny.
And Patrick Kane, the look of Patrick Kane, just like he literally looked like somebody. If my wife said, "Can we give him $10 to shovel our driveway?" I would have been like, "That kid can't."
I think I told you the story. Shane and I did a live show there, and everybody booed us when we said Chicago's going to take Patrick Kane. They all wanted a bigger player. They didn't care how skilled he was. They didn't care how fast he was.
So small and so young looking. It was ridiculous. Like
at the Leafs rookie development camp in 2015, everybody was saying, Mitch Marner. They said, "Oh, he's 5'11" and 185," and it's like, my left leg is closer to 185.
Right. It was not even close to that.
Waits in the skates, put it that way.
Yep.
So do we get the Philadelphia pick yet? I mean,
here we go.
What's the Philadelphia pick?
The pick is in.
I think they should take Wallstat, but we'll see.
It would be a good pick. But for people that thought, like Kosa would be gone in the top 10, I told you there was no way he was going in the top 10. I thought Wallstead might.
If it's Wallstead, I think Flyer fans might take a deep sigh of relief, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's a goalie pick.
Somebody already said it should be Fabian Lysell.
Yeah, I think, look, I had Lysell ranked 11th. I would take him. I know there's some people that still kind of question him a little bit, but the tools are there, man. I would take him.
Okay, the Sabre fans are asking to cut the Luke Hughes interview and get to the pick.
That's so funny.
While we're waiting here.
Again, this is Devils marketing, like I was talking about. If you think this is the start of it.
I mean, the Devils need it, for crying out loud. Like,
they do.
I mean, they give them a little bit of credit. This is not a team that can afford to skip on a marketing opportunity.
But the funny thing here is that somebody in the chat said, and I thought it was hilarious, they should offer sheet Quinn.
I know, really. Yeah.
Can you stop, please?
I mean, can we stop? Vancouver would have a hard time matching it.
Just everybody would have a hard time matching it in this world right now, this flat cap world. Come on.
All right. Yeah, no, I know. But, and actually, you know what I heard today? It's not that the cap is going to go up $1.5 million a year.
No.
In this flat cap world, it is. Bill Daly was on the radio this afternoon, and someone asked about this. And he said, no, there's an agreement that it has to go up at least $1 million. Like the way the flat cap works, it has to go up $1 million a year. It's not like a big deal, but it does have to go up
this year before it starts.
It's is it for like operating like other costs?
It's just part of the CBA that there's a minimum amount and then they cannot. And that minimum amount, like that, they have to go up there.
Now, according to McKenzie's saying that Buffalo's pick will be Swedish forward Isaac Rosen.
Okay, Isaac Rosen is a riser. I mentioned him.
And very nice vertical blinds they have there, I must say.
Yeah. I mentioned Rosen to show that he's a draft riser, and he really is. Like, this is a kid who skates great. He's got a terrific shot. There are people that like him better than Olofsson and Lysell because he went from, in junior hockey, he dominated, and then he went up to the SHL. He didn't really score points, but he looked good. And the speed, and you can see like this, what he did there, getting behind the defense, he does that pretty frequently at that level. But I do think he's translatable. I think this is a really good pick. And this is a guy I can't cushion the blow for Flyers fans because I don't, he's not a top liner, but he's going to be a second liner.
Yeah, well, I'm already tweeting out already. I said Sportsology likes Rosen, so Flyer fans can begin tracking his career in earnest. I'm doing that right now.
But Rosen, yeah, he was a draft riser.
Like that guy Caulfield who they passed on, or no, never mind.
All right, we do want to talk. We are going to talk about the Seth Jones trade.
Well, no, let's we'll get that in a second, but let's just go.
And the Vancouver trade.
Oh, I do need to add this for Buffalo Sabres fans. He's signed through 22-23 over in Sweden.
Yeah, Leksands. He's played.
So he won't be here for a while.
Okay, Russ. There was a trade that involved the Rangers. Not a minor trade because Buchnevich is.
Was that a trade, Mike?
Was it a trade? What do you mean?
Was it a trade? It looked like a dump.
It felt like a setup.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
It did feel like a setup.
I've never. Okay, let's just say this. I have never seen an organization react to one incident in my life more than the New York Rangers have to the Tom Wilson situation. Now they get, Barclay Goodrow. There's some sandpaper. Now Sammy Blais, who runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, which I like that. That's entertaining. But boy, Russ, I'm waiting for them to trade for our friend in Vegas.
No, they're good now. But the idea is, again, even if you couldn't sign Buchnevich, and this is what the NHL Network said, and I really vehemently disagree. They were like, well, the writing was on the wall. They couldn't sign him. Okay, but you could have got a half season out of him and traded him at the deadline and still got more than what Chris Drury got for him today. Yeah. It felt like it might have been a setup for something else, but in the end, you traded a fourth liner for a guy who's going to score 25 goals. And the St. Louis Blues are laughing. They're laughing.
There's no question that right after that trade happened, two teams that I know that are talking about Eichel contacted me immediately with text saying, do you think the Rangers have Eichel now? That's the first thing they said. So
there's no question they're trying to get him.
To me, there's a fear. There was a fear among those teams, because everyone's sitting back right now. There's a big waiting game. Basically, like I told you, one person said that what the Sabres were asking for was enough, was the right price. Were they trading him to Eichels? He literally said that's how overpriced it was for what the Rangers were asking for.
This is the 2021 version of John Kordick for Russ Courtnall. Yeah. That's what it is. A team that want.
I didn't think that one be pulled out tonight. That's a good one.
The chat room wants me to point out that Sammy Blais has a little bit of skill. Okay, he's got 12 goals in 80-something games. Buchnevich could score 30 if everything is right.
Now the one factor is
taking off my shirt.
The one fact,
no, you were waiting until the end of the Flyers pick to take off that shirt.
No, I just, I don't want to make the women crazy. I'm trying my best.
I should mention at some point. I do need to mention Aturati too, but go ahead, keep going.
Go ahead. Go into that now, Russ. Go into that now.
Wait.
Well, Mike has to say something.
The one factor here is Buchnevich is a UFA after next year.
Sure, I get it, but again, this trade didn't have to happen for that return.
We have a trade. We have a trade right now. So we don't. I'm trying to figure out what it is here, but we have a trade coming up.
All right, we'll figure out what it is. Aturati is a center that was kind of polarizing because I liked him more than most. I mean, I originally had him ranked 12th. All right, and then
Detroit's moving to 15. Are they going for the goalie?
Yeah, they're going for the goalie. Yeah.
This feels like Detroit's going up. Detroit's moving up for the goalie.
They're going for Wallstead.
We talked about this. Did I not say this afternoon that Detroit?
I had them taking Wallstead at 6, but now they're going to take him anyhow. But anyhow, just getting back to Rati, he's a center who can play at speed with a great shot. He doesn't panic, and he's really solid on the power play. The problem with Rati that people don't like is, similarly to one of the other Nylanders, is you don't always get a full 60 out of him. And so they kind of –
shocking.
Yeah, so that's the only knock on him. Otherwise, he's really good. And so that could be gold there. But again, you've got to hope that, his work ethic gets a little better, but all the tools are there.
Do you think Dorian, someone asked me this question, do you think Dorian could have traded down and gotten Boucher later?
Yes. Oh, and 100%.
I think he could have taken, I'm not casting aspersions on Boucher because I understand why they're interested in him because of that unicorn quality of his. They probably could have traded down into the 20s and gotten him.
No, there's one Ottawa guy who was a fan of the Senators. The
old story is, Mike, if you like a guy that much,
then you take him. Yes.
Yeah. Then you take him. Especially if the room feels strongly enough about it.
Right.
Right. But we can't. If Pierre Dorian were to come out and say, well, somebody else was going to take him at like 13, 14, I would challenge that.
Dallas is getting picks 48 and 138 to make this swap.
So they got They got a second.
One of these years, I always forget to do this. I want to do a big poll where we give out the numbers of every possible number, and if your number is traded, you win something. I think that would be a fun thing to do.
Got a second and a fourth to move up 8 slots.
8 slots. This has to be for the goalie, right?
Actually, it's a fifth. A second and a fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, if Detroit gets the goalie here, that's a win.
Oh no, this is a franchise goalie. If they pick him, like I think they're going to pick him. This is a win because I would have taken him, like I said, at 6.
That's a damn good. Two Swedes, and 2 excellent Swedes there, man.
Steve Yzerman's smarter than me. I admit that.
Oh yeah, no.
Look at this.
Steve Yzerman in his model UN room, I think.
Doesn't this look? Yeah, it looks like a UN room or a Boy Scout meeting. Like it's just.
Welcome to the Republic of Hockey Town.
I know.
It's so weird.
I have traded.
Where's Vladimir Putin?
It reminds me of Parks and Rec when they have the Model UN and Andy, the guy, what's his name?
I'm not a Parks and Rec guy, so I don't know.
Where's the hammer and the sickle?
He trades with Finland to get. He trades Africa trades all of their lions to Finland, for the military.
It's crazy that Lucas Raymond's only 19 and he can play in the NHL if he wants to.
That's a happy looking photo that they just popped up there. I love these photos of these kids.
Of course they're gonna bleed this 5 minutes. So while they're doing that, let's go to Seth Jones first, and then go to the other one last, because the other one is the craziest thing we've heard in a long time. But the Seth Jones one, so they get the 12th pick. They get the 12th pick, which is Cole Sillinger. So they end up with Cole Sillinger and Boquist.
Adam Boquist, who's a power play quarterback.
They give their 32nd pick. They give the 32nd overall pick back.
Why? Why did they do that? That's the part of the trade. That is the part of the trade I don't understand.
Chicago must have just demanded it.
The fact that Chicago got it back is crazy. Stan
Bowman hit Jarmo Kekalainen over the head with a hammer on this one, because I mean, you got one of the top 5 defensemen in the NHL.
Yeah.
And you got
the analytics darlings will tell you no.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, screw them. I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll give Jarmo credit that he gets a defenseman back who is retainable for I think 5 years, and anything that's always important with Columbus.
And a good guy. He's a good
young defenseman. He's a little questionable defensively, but then he gets Seth Jones locked up for 8 years at 9.5.
That's the problem. But with everybody,
because I mean that's definitely. I would say that's a contract about $2.5 million, maybe, or
maybe 2 years, 2 years, and
1.5 million, maybe a little too much on definitely
the years. I mean, the years are, to me.
8 years. Yeah, I mean that's.
But we're Stan Bowman one.
Steve Yzerman's making his pick here.
Okay, here we go.
He is taken. Yeah, here they did. They took Kosa.
Oh, they took Kosa.
Wow.
They took
All right. We'll give a nod to Brad Allen of Hockey
Brad Allen. Brad Allen, who of course appeared on our Off the Post Radio draft special,
right,
and was big on Kosa, and Kosa goes ahead. So Brad, enjoy a nice cold Molson on us.
We tip our hat to you. Right position, wrong guy. I'll
tell you the risk in this. You want to know the one risk in this? He played in the bubble, and he didn't play all the teams. And he is really good. He's 6'6", but a 6'6" guy is going to take a while to get to the NHL. These guys have a lot of
all over the place.
parts.
Watching these highlights, he's an all over the place goalie. Like
no, listen, you're in a bad way or in a good way?
No, in a little bit of like an uncontrolled way in my mind.
Well, I think he has to learn. I think he has to grow into that body. Like I think his post-to-post movements seem really good. His glove hand seems really good. But again, I need to see him against like more elite competition. And even when Brad was on our show and I said, hey, Wallsted's playing in the SHL and he's played internationally, Kosa hasn't done any of that yet. So look, I'm not a goalie expert. So I'll just say, hey, okay.
Did they have to move up to get him? It's a good question. I mean, you think Kosa would have gone before? I mean, I don't know.
I can't say for sure. Maybe.
Yeah.
Now, just to finish off the point on the Seth Jones trade.
Yeah.
Where Bowman won this is, and you talked about this and you reported this, that Jarmo was pressing for DeBrincat or pressing for Kirby Dach.
Yep.
Wouldn't give up either one of them. And then they end up giving up Boquist. Boquist is a good young defenseman, but Dach, I think, can be if not a number one, a number two, a really great number two center. And DeBrincat, in spite of his small of stature, is one of the best goal scorers in this league. So, I think Columbus, they got what they could. They were in a position where they were up against it because Seth Jones was never going to re-sign there. But I don't know if they got enough. And
well, I mean, they did get a guy who could run a number one power play, Mike, with speed. He's not the best defender, but
it is notable they also traded for Jake Bean right after this.
Yeah, the Jake Bean thing is just crazy now.
That's the great management of prospects by the Carolina Hurricanes once again.
This is either going to turn out to be one of the great trades of all time or one of the worst ones. There's no in between on this one. If Jake Bean is a top four defenseman in this league and plays anywhere on the power play, this is a horrible trade. And if Jake Bean never plays for some reason, then it's a great trade. But I don't see that happen.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, it also does make the Seth Jones trade a little bit easier to take. But the other thing I'll say about the Seth Jones trade, the final thing I'll say about it is the general feeling is too much money. The contract was too big, but you probably had no choice.
Right.
But at the same time, because Seth Jones he did show a little bit of a drop off last year. He's still a dominant player, but how do you start to determine when the drop off starts for defensemen? That's always a tough thing. I mean, obviously, we see that with Carlson, in San Jose. It's tough to figure out that moment when the drop off's coming.
Well, again, I think the wear and tear, age, several things I think play into a factor at that point. And when San Jose acquired. When they had acquired him from Ottawa, he was just ending his peak point, Carlson.
Right.
But this is what I don't get about Carolina here when it comes to Bean, Russ. So, Slavin, Pesce, Shea. There's your core three. Dougie Hamilton's a UFA. Probably he's not coming back unless they pony up big money. And that's against the ethic of the Carolina Hurricanes. Maybe they re-sign Yakinpa, Jake Gardner. They've got nobody else behind that unless they, go out. I don't get this. I mean, this was the opportunity to have.
I'll tell you some weird things. Yeah, some weird things are they've gotten rid of so many of their guys that won a championship with Charlotte. That's crazy to me. Ron Francis made a big mistake. And asset management here because if he could have gotten a second-round pick for Jake Bean and he took Morgan Geekie, I like Morgan Geekie, but nobody was giving you a second-round pick for Morgan Geekie, so you lost out on that asset management there too.
Yeah, and by the way, your point about the Flyers, they not only got two top four defensemen, they got two top four right-hand shot defensemen.
I know,
and that is the big, and as we said before, that is the big factor.
That's a factor
in much of this because of how they want to play, what the value is, obviously on right-handed defensemen at the right-hand shots at the NHL level. And as we said, Chuck Fletcher stated right after they acquired Ellis how difficult it is. Actually, even beyond that, when we were getting into the expansion draft press conference, the very limited supply on those type of defensemen and what that's going to cost. But I feel like, at the end of the day, do I feel both the moves were necessary? The answer is yes. It's just you bite your tongue.
Yeah, they paid through the nose.
They paid through the nose to enhance their blue line. But if it plays out correctly, then
something that I said out loud, to Anthony, and we both pondered this because it dawned on me while we were having a conversation. We're like two yentas. The thing is, should Shane Gostisbehere have been bought out like 2 years ago? Because the second and the seventh then wouldn't have been given up, and there was definitely a point where you could say, hey, he got bought out. Nobody would have complained. His play was going down. And so the question, I kind of wonder, should he have been bought out?
Yeah, a really hard call.
Okay, and let's talk about this one while we're waiting for the next pick, because this is dumbfounding. I call them the Arizona garbage cans for a reason. Okay, they make the trade for Andrew Ladd. That was purely to gain a bunch of draft picks from the Islanders. The Gostisbehere deal, they get a 2 and a 7, and Gostisbehere, his cap hits 4.5. And his real money is 3.25. So they're getting a bargain there in terms of getting to the cap floor. This deal with Vancouver, Beagle $1.2 million in real money, Roussel $1.9, Louis Eriksson $4 million. The cap hits $6 million. The other two cap hits are $3. That's $12 million in cap space, and they're paying like 60% on that. I mean, and they did that with Ladd. They did that with Gostisbehere. That was $10 million, I believe, and they were only paying $2 million because
they're fielding a team.
All right, the Rangers have picked Brennan Othmann.
Othmann's a good player.
He was a player. I think and Anthony Sanfilippo mentioned. He said that this is a player the Flyers are pretty high on if they would have kept their first rounder.
I like him. I like his shot. I don't think he's a star. I kind of wonder if he's like a third liner, to be honest. But good skater, had a good under 18s. He's a good player. I think there's better players. I would take Chaz Lucius over him every day of the week.
Yeah,
but again, Othmann will hit somebody in the mouth. So there is that too.
They're still reacting to that, right? They're still reacting to that.
But here, okay, let me just finish my point on Arizona.
Go ahead, continue.
They get the 9th overall pick in this deal. And they retained 12% of Ekman. Okay. All those contracts expire at the end of next year. This is the Dion Phaneuf deal. This is what that is. Because remember, they got Jared Cowan, Milan Mihalik, they had one other player I can't remember. That all the contracts expired after a year. They cleared and they cleared out the term on Phaneuf, which was I think 5 or 6 years. They were so anxious to get rid of Ekman Larsson's $8.25 million salary that they basically, Anthony, this deal is, and they gave up Connor Garland on top of it. This deal is friggin' ridiculous.
Yeah, as soon as I saw what the return was, it was basically, give me your tired, your poor, your high contract. I live.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like looking at this trade. It was just like tempest tossed to me. You're not kidding in this circumstance. And Armstrong's what Armstrong's doing here. But
no,
it's just
you're not kidding. This trade. The first I got a text back from another person I really trust in the NHL. He used to be a general manager. Is not in the league anymore right now, but it's just somebody I really trust who called this trade when it happened immediately a hot mess for both teams, which I thought was interesting.
That's true. I agree with
some ways. He's he's basically, obviously for this year, you've got Garland. That's great. But this is a team that has to sign Quinn. They have to sign Pettersson. They have, you're going to have to sign, Ekman Larsson if you want to keep him, right?
Well,
so you have a situation here.
That's the funny thing. Okay, and Colin Green was the other player in the Phaneuf deal. But this is the thing. In terms of cap space, the Canucks actually saved money on this deal. They cleared out $12 million for this year.
Yeah.
And Ekman-Larsson's making, with the salary retention, about 7.3. And if they sign Garland to a deal, he's probably going to make, what, 3.5, something like that. Okay, so they save a little money here. So this year, if they sign Pettersson and Hughes to bridge deals, they're almost a little better. But it's going forward. It's going forward. How are they going to fit in Hughes and Pettersson 2 or 3 years down the line?
I think how they see what they see right now, and there's something I'm not usually a fan of this Benning, but I will say that what you see here is a weak division, and you see yourself with a little bit of a window. If you're this team, you see yourself, okay, we can do something in the next couple of years, and now there's suddenly a factor in this division by making this trade. They definitely put themselves probably as a playoff team. So, it's hard to say, but I think they become a playoff team with this trade.
Well, the question is now, do they clear out? Are they going to be able to clear out Nate Schmidt's contract? And I'm surprised. See, here shows what the agenda here is with Arizona. Nate Schmidt's got 4 years left in his contract. That's the last thing they want is anybody with term. They want nobody. They're stripping it down to the bare wood is what Arizona is doing. It's a disgrace the way that organization is operating right now.
It's interesting. I mean, and the Nate Schmidt is I put this rumor out there too that that the Montreal Canadiens are looking at Nate Schmidt. That's an interesting move, I think.
Every Atlantic Division team is saying, please.
Nate Schmidt, he's just getting passed around, man.
Zachary Bolduc has been taken by the Blues.
Zach Bolduc, yeah. Bolduc's a good player. He's a guy in the queue. Let me get my report on him.
And in front of Bolduc, in the table that he's sitting at in his room, there were all 31 team hats.
Yeah, because you get a box of hats. Yeah.
The NHL sends you the entire.
And they send you every hat for every team.
And then you take one and you ship the rest of them back.
No, they just give them out to family members. I ask a few guys, like,
hey, you want to
get to keep the hats? You get to keep all the hats.
Yeah, you keep all the hats. Like, they're yours.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they.
Oh, yeah. No, they're yours. And some of the guys say they just sort of give them out to family members. And some of their family members like other teams, too, right? So they go for those hats.
Then you end up selling the Arizona hat.
But Bolduc's got good size. I think his skating's good.
Kevin Allen is with us, John.
Yeah. He's a good pick here.
The great Kevin Allen is joining us. Let's bring Kevin Allen in. Hello, Kevin.
Hi there. Little fireworks from the Red Wings.
Yeah,
it's been a fun day, I'd say.
Well, okay, Kevin.
Let's start with the Red Wings, though. Start with the Red Wings.
This is the surprising thing because we're in real time. We're watching this. They trade up from 23 to 15, and we were right to say they're trading up for the goalie. We all thought it was going to be Wallstedt, and it ends up being Kosa.
Yeah, but I'm sure Russ addressed this, but I'll do it again. There were a group of scouts that thought Kosa was the better goalie. It was the majority liked Wallstedt. They compared him to being a franchise goalie, and then they said Kosa was very good. But there was also a group that said Kosa's every bit as good as Wallstedt.
Okay,
but. Saying all that, I think the fan base in Detroit's a little surprised, but he's Yzerman. He can do whatever he wants, and who's to say that? Even if you agree that Wallstedt was a better prospect, it's also possible that Kosa.
We lost him for a second.
We'll wait.
I want to finish our thoughts on Zach.
Let me finish. I have my report here. So good around the net, strong on defense. He has a good stick in lane for stopping guys from getting to the net. Good snap on his shot, and he shields the puck with his body. So I do like him. I think he that's a little early for him, but again, that's a St. Louis player. And Kev, we've been talking about it during this show.
He's back. He's coming back.
Okay. Kev, what we've been talking about on the show, and we talked about it this morning a little. This draft is now turning into a draft that would be like from years ago, where if you have that little bit of edge in your game and some other things, you're getting picked early. Like Boucher went really early. This is early for Bolduc. So now they're valuing,
and also McTavish at number 3.
McTavish at number 3.
He's got an edge to his play too.
Yeah.
And the trend of the big defensemen affected their wings because we all thought Eklund was going to go at 6, and they took the big Edvinsson. And now you've got the Twin Towers with him and Sider.
Yeah, and I mean, Russ, you brought up early today that we would get an indication of where the league was going based on Boucher.
Yeah.
And I thought you were absolutely right about that. And it's interesting though. All the guys that have gone early were guys that were up on most of the independent scouting reviews. All those ones you read, Red Line Report. Mm-hmm. Bolduc was higher, Boucher was higher on Dauber's report. A lot of those players had been identified by the independent ones, but they weren't as high on central scouting.
Right.
So we tended to, undervalue them. But one thing I thought was really kind of funny for those who've been around the league a long time. Who did Steve Yzerman go to get his goalie? He went to his good friend Jim Nill in Dallas.
True. I didn't even think of that.
Yep.
They have known each other for forever.
Oh yeah, no, they are.
And they cut a deal.
Well, Kev,
So Lucius was picked by Winnipeg here at 18.
Yeah, this is a great pick.
Yeah.
Great.
Finish what you're saying, Kev.
Well, I but it wasn't as if he gave him a deal. That was standard deal to move up. He didn't give him a deal, but I thought it was interesting that it's a guy that he knew that phone call was real easy to make. So.
A 2 and a 5 to move up 8 slots is not a best friend. Hey, buddy, how are the kids? Yeah. No, that's
not a king's ransom,
right?
Yeah,
But what's interesting is Yzerman addressed this scenario that last time we had him on a Zoom call, where he said, "Look, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen." It doesn't happen days before. It happens right during the draft. You make a call. And so, then that's sort of what happened.
So, Kev, one thing about Kosa that gives me a little pause is that we're really looking at everything based on him on when he played in the bubble this year. And he did play in a bubble. And that's.
No, I mean, everything that's based on him, when you talk to scouts, was based on what he did last season. This year, most of the teams he played weren't very good. He played a limited schedule, but almost everyone you talk to, that's the first thing they see.
So they went to the -1
year. He had
year.
great stats this year, and I think they just like. I remember a GM said to me one time, I don't know much about goaltending, but you look at a guy and you says, well, that looks like a goaltender. Well, I think that's what they say about Kosa. Yeah, he looks like a pretty good goaltender.
The interesting thing about this now, what's happening now, is Nashville's on the clock, and they're not going to take Wallstedt, I don't think, because they took a goalie last year in the first round. So it looks like Edmonton's going to get a shot at Wallstedt.
Yeah, well, Edmonton probably will get a shot at him, Mac. You're right.
Which is a great thing.
But Russ, don't you like their younger goalies in Edmonton? I thought it was you who liked their young goalies.
Years ago, I liked Stuart Skinner. There's nobody there I like now.
Yeah, they really haven't developed.
Not there. Eck, I want to mention one thing about Lucius, and I think why he's getting picked here. So he had a knee injury, and he came back from it, and he was really honest with me in an interview. Like, I had a knee surgery once, right, that took 6 months of rehab, and there's a lot of pain. The worst pain in your life that you ever could have is that first day at a knee surgery where they bend your knee and they check the angle of it, and they say, okay, this is how much it flexes. You need to get to this. And every time you're there, they bend your knee, right? Mm-hmm, and you're in tremendous pain. He said his knee couldn't bend it for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And we all just take it for granted when guys come back from injuries, and he scored 13 goals in 13 games. Like, he was terrific. Yeah. But again, it's an amazing thing. And he actually felt like he got mentally stronger from that, because he said, listen, there were some really hard days.
That's a long, I remember, I heard you say that story earlier today on XM, and it's a really powerful thing, because there's no.
It is. I bonded with him on that. Yeah.
Now, could we see a team trade up ahead of Edmonton if they think Edmonton's going to take Wallstedt?
No, I don't think they're going to do that in this draft. I think Wallsted's just going to end up wherever he's going to end up now, and teams are sort of filling their shopping list. It's interesting because I have guys like Corson Kuhlmans. I think Francesco Pinelli has moved up a lot. Oscar Olofsson. Those are some really good guys here. I think those are guys that you certainly should look at. I like Zach Dean more than most, I think, so I don't think Zach Dean's ready yet. But
what do you think? The Predators go for offense here in all likelihood, right? I mean, they really are.
I think I think I could see them going for Pinelli, Francesco Pinelli as center.
Based on the fact that they protected 5 defensemen and only 3 forwards, I think it's safe to say that they're going to go for.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pinelli here.
Pinelli, okay.
How about the Swede?
Oh, yeah. Well, remember I mentioned.
How about the Swede?
Okay, so I mentioned that he was going to drop, even though Fabian Lysel's got a ton of talent.
Yeah, Lysel. Mm-hmm.
And I did mention, I think if he drops to Carolina, they're going to take him. And I know Kevin said that's a long drop. And I said, well, but there's rumors out there that he didn't interview well. And so even though he's got all these tools, doing poorly in the interview process can have this effect on a player. And I think we're seeing it.
Kevin, while we're waiting for a pick. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Nashville might look at Lysel. But
listen, if they take him, it's a great pick. I'm very high on him.
Yeah,
I am.
Kev, while we're waiting, give us your thoughts. First on the Ristolainen trade with Philadelphia. Do you think that the Flyers paid too much for a defenseman who only has 1 year left in his contract?
Well, I thought they really overpaid, for him. Saying that, I think he'll help them. I don't mind the trade. I just thought they just paid too much. And I originally when it originally came out that of what Chicago gave before I heard about that they were getting the Columbus pick back, I thought it might have been a little too much there even. But now that that I heard that Chicago got the last Columbus pick, then I think, wow, that now I really like the deal from Chicago. It's amazing how one player, tilts it. But being able to hang on to a first round pick, even though it's 32,
right?
I thought was really important to them. I don't know what Russ thinks about Boquist, but you got to give up somebody to get somebody. So
no, I think he's really good. I mean, he's a top power play guy. He's a great skater. He's not the greatest defensively, but if he's going to run your power play, that's a good guy to get. Ken, the thing that puzzled me was that 32. The fact that, to me, that was like the fact that Chicago got that. Right. I don't know how they did it.
We got to remember that the asking price was Doc or DeBrincat. So
I think that was the price for not taking.
Not
including either of those two players potentially in the trade.
Yeah.
To me, that's the thing is that when you're coming off of that, the 32 doesn't look so bad. It's like that.
Well, considering DeBrincat was taken 36th, I believe, in this draft year, and this is a 32.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, I mean, what you got to do in those cases is you got to say when it's done, okay, are we a better team? Like if you add Seth Jones, but you eliminated DeBrincat or Dodge, you haven't improved your team, in my opinion.
Now,
but if
I do want to mention something. I got a little info here, and I'll say it like this, Ek. As far as the New Jersey pick, remember how I said not everybody was going to want Luke Hughes in that spot? Not everybody did. That's all I could say.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, but Kevin, how can New Jersey not take Luke Hughes when his brother's sitting next to him at the sofa?
I thought that's as big a pressure as you've got. Jack Hughes is so important.
I know
to the Devil. True. And I've had people tell me that they did not think Luke Hughes was the 4th best player in this draft.
Yeah, no.
But how can you not take him? And it's not like it's a poor pick,
No, of course not. But it's like, but when you see him sitting there with Jack,
it was a little bit easier.
There is no way. I'm like,
or how do you face their parents?
Yeah.
How do you face the parents?
Anything. I mean, and Jack's reaction was really awesome. I mean, the whole thing was awesome when it happened. But like, you can tell that Jack's reaction was Jack didn't know. Like you always wonder in your back of your head, did they tell Jack this is happening? Don't worry about it. We're going to take him. They didn't, because you could tell by the way Jack reacted.
But Jack was very vehement in wanting him there. He spoke to everybody there. They had meetings about it.
Yeah.
So he was very influential in it, though.
No, there's no question he was influential in it. Yeah, but I was told that by somebody very high up, but that room was split, and then if Eklund got there, if it was 50-50, like they had 50% Eklund, 50% Luke Hughes. But when you sit there and you're looking at that scene in the Hughes living room there in Michigan, there's no way.
I wanted to tell Kevin, even though it's redundant for the viewers, sorry, but Kev, I went 5 out of 10 in my mock. I only did the top 10, and I felt like that's actually pretty good for this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
This is killing me. David Poyle sitting there in front right on Broadway with a with oh man, I love this town. I want to go there so badly.
They went Svechkov. All right.
So Svechkov.
Yeah,
they have to believe he's a center if they're taking him there. I think it's a little early for him, but that's me.
When we had Chris Peters on, I mean, he was very high. He mentioned, like, when the Flyers still had their pick, one of the first names he mentioned was Svechkov.
Yeah, he did.
I heard through the grapevine, but you don't know what to believe coming out of Detroit. But I heard they absolutely loved him.
There's a lot to like. I just don't know if he's a center. I think people have overblown his defense. Like they say, oh, he's the best defensive player in the draft, and he's great defensively. I don't think that's there yet.
Sounds like it's starting to. That sounds an awful lot like German Rubstov, doesn't it?
Yeah. But he's way better offensively than Rubstov ever was. He put on a show in the under 18s. But the idea is, I don't know if he's a center. If he's a center, this is a great pick. If he's not a center, it's a good pick.
All right, so Wallstedt.
There he is. Oilers are on the clock now.
Oilers are on the clock. They've got a chance to take Wallstedt. They didn't think this guy would be there for them at this point.
Russ, when's the last time we've had? If there's how many? What's the last time we had 2 goalies taken in the first round?
Oh God,
it's got to be a very long time.
Well, there was a lot of people that had them taking Kosa at this spot.
Yeah,
right.
The home.
Yeah, and he's the Edmonton Oil Kings guy, so that would make sense.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. This is a really good pick if they get him. Go ahead,
let me just finish off the Seth talk, Kev. The contract extension, which won't be, it's a sign and trade. He'll get the 8 years. It can't be official until Wednesday, but 9.5 for Seth Jones. I like Seth Jones. I think Seth Jones is a great two-way defenseman. 9.5. That's up there.
I have an answer for you, Anthony. I think it's 2000. Well, I know it's 2008. I don't think it's happened since. And it's Chet Pickard, and Kevin will chuckle, Thomas McCollum, who kept us all waiting like a half an hour, the last pick, and we're all sitting there waiting for him to interview. And he was just like, oh, sorry, I was talking to the team. But neither of them were good goalies. It won't happen this time. These guys are good goalies.
But, okay, Kevin, on Seth Jones.
Yeah, I really thought when I heard what the price was that I thought about you because, that gives them, again, 3 players. But my thought is I agree with you this time. They were just in that mess before with Taves and Kane and Duncan Keith and all those guys making a lot of money. And I just thought it was just a little too high. Like it should have been 8, 8 million and not 9.5, especially given the fact that he's coming off what most everyone agrees was a very subpar year. So I just thought the money was too high. But overall, I think they're going to be happy with the acquisition. That gives them a force down there. And the one thing, a GM brought this up to me, and it's not that I didn't know this, but I just didn't think about it. You're buying an extra 2.5 for 3 minutes with Seth Jones. He can play forever, unbelievable conditioning. So, that's 3 minutes that third pairing doesn't have to play.
No, it's true. Kev, the other thing is I was saying now that this happened, imagine what Adam Fox is going to be worth if he has another year close to this past year.
Yeah.
I just did a quick look here, Russ. The last draft, there 2 goalies were taken in the first round was 2012.
Okay, so 2012, who were they?
At 19, a guy named Vasilevsky.
It was the Vassy draft. Yeah, I was thinking it might have been the Vasilevsky
draft.
At
24, Malcolm Subban.
Yeah, so one good one average, that below average.
A quadruple A goaltender is that.
This is why I know Kevin has his study, but this is why it's risky to take a goalie in the first round. It is risky.
Yeah, well, I don't have the study. I just read it, but it was fascinating, and they went back a long way, and it works out, and it's remarkably the chances of making a mistake or hitting on it are almost exactly. They're within 2 or 3 percentage points.
Minnesota's making a trade here with Edmonton. Is that what's going on?
It doesn't say that on the NHL Network, but okay.
Now, Kev, whenever you're watching a TV show like NYPD Blue or Hill Street Blues that's based in New York, they always show a garbage scow going down the Hudson, out to sea. Yeah. That's the Arizona Coyotes.
It's Michael. Here it is. Michael Russo just stated the Wild are moving up from 22-20 in a trade with the Oilers. Wouldn't shock me if it's the goalie Jesper Wallstedt.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell are the Oilers doing?
Well, I don't know.
Can you answer that question? I mean,
I'll default to Kevin.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I mean, they're
really confident that Mike Smith is the goalie of the future.
Yeah. So,
do you think Wallstedt would play this year though?
No. But it's so hard to defend.
He won't play next year either. He's under
contract.
Right.
It's so hard to defend this team as it is. Why? Well,
no, I'm going to ask that question to Kevin about the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I could say is, I'd like that last trade. Like, how do you somehow get rid of
Ekman Larson?
Yeah, Ekman Larson, and end up with the 9th pick and get a guy like Guenther. Now, can you imagine I was on Twitter and the Vancouver people were eating Benning alive over this, over the loss of that pick in this deal. And or at least some of them were.
No, a lot of them are.
The people
because they're worried about OEL's contract length, which is fair to worry about.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly true. And imagine if Guenther just keeps scoring.
Right.
So
yeah, he has a shot. He may have the best shot in the draft.
And they had to give him Garland on top of it.
All right. So is Edmonton does Edmonton have another goalie that they're making a trade? There must be something that's going on here with Edmonton.
This is the NHL draft. Don't try and put logic into it. Just let it roll.
Yeah, I mean, they have to get a goalie, but getting one now. I mean, for 2 or 3 years from now, that doesn't solve their problem. So
yeah, but it certainly is a step in the right direction. I mean, this team hasn't. I mean, unless they're making a giant move, unless they're signing Freddie Anderson to like a 7-year deal.
They have full confidence in Mikko Koskinen. Come on.
Now they might, in my opinion, they have a 7-year deal that they're going to sign somebody. They have a goalie they're going to sign to a major deal.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise, why would you do this? It makes no sense at all.
Well, I just don't see the same connection there's some logic to what you're saying, but their goaltending problems are immediate. That doesn't mean they shouldn't take Wallstedt because I would have if I was them, but that doesn't mean that they have to.
No, they don't have to, but if they don't, they have to do something else. They have.
Wallstedt wasn't going to help them this year. It was
but maybe he helps them 2 years from now. And it depends the kind of goalie they're going after right now.
After Connor McDavid asks out after they miss the playoffs 2 more years. I mean, they need a goal. They have needed a goaltender for the last 3 years, at least.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that they haven't, but at the end of the day,
the year that Cam Talbot had when they made the second round of the playoffs, he had a fantastic year. Ever since then, they have needed a number 1 goaltender.
Listen, it took the Flyers a while to get a goalie. Sometimes there's organizations that have blind spots for certain positions, and it happens to a lot of organizations.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina obviously has that blind spot.
Well, I mean, Kenny Holland never, he had success in Detroit, but there wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, there was a thing that he never went out and got the big goalie, right? Like he didn't go out.
No, he always went out and got the big goalie. That was the problem. We got Curtis Joseph.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think Skinner could be a backup. Yes, but he's not going to be a number 1.
After what was it? Kevin, was it after 1 year he went from Cujo and then they went and got Hasek? Or
Hasek, and then Hasek wanted to come back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So he's done that, but I can't defend him on this because he doesn't need to go. But I will say this is what Yzerman said about that very topic this week. Someone asked him about the best available player and striking and getting goalies. And he said he also believes you just got to take the best player there, regardless, because he said you don't know what your team will look like in 3 or 4 years when they're coming. But then he said, however, if things are close and you're not really sure who you should take, and you've drafted 7 really good defensemen and you've got no centers or no goalies on your team, then you got to consider taking a goalie. So he sort of opened the door, because the Red Wings, everybody identified that they had no goalie in their system. And their current goalies, Bryce was older. So they went out and got a 25-year-old goalie. And then now they've drafted Kosa. So, I guess that's the way to look at it. But Holland has always been able to find really good goalies, except since he's gotten to Edmonton. So.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Mike Vernon won a cup there. Chris Osgood won a couple cups there. So I mean, and Dominic Hasek, Curtis Joseph never played well there, but I mean, it was still a good effort. Like everybody thought, well, that was the right move. He went out and got.
That's true.
It's the only time, by the way, that Ken Holland ever lied to me. Yeah,
really?
because and same thing with Bob Wojnarowski of the Detroit News. I remember that because he actually talked to Bob and I about why he had to do it. We were sniffing around, and he got us off the scent by leading us toward.
They took Wallstead.
Yeah, Elliott.
Yeah, when Minnesota took Wallstead. Yeah,
Wallstead is their pick. Yep.
So. He led us toward Ed Belfour when he was really going after Curtis Joseph.
Really, that's interesting. There you go. Well, I mean, hey, I mean, the only thing I can think of is I know he's a meticulous planner, Holland, and I have to think that he's going for a goalie long term now. That he's going to sign a UFA that like a 5 to 7 year deal. Like not like if he gets Wallstead, I can think okay, he's going for like a 2 or 3 year goalie. Wait till Wallstead's able to play, right? But now, if you're going to sign a 7-year goalie,
there's not a 7-year goalie in this free agent pool. There isn't.
I don't know. Is there?
I do need to point this out. There were like 20 people in that living room. It's 4:23 a.m. there. These are gamers, man.
Sweet, I know. I like that. No, they're used to it over there. If you're a hockey fans, 4:23 is the morning is when you start making the nachos.
All I can remember is the 2016 draft when the lottery happened and the Leafs, before the Leafs had won the lottery, they interviewed both Matthews and Patrick Laine, and Patrick Laine looked like he was in bed and his hair was all disheveled because it was 3 a.m. there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oilers fans not happy.
Yeah.
In the
and they should be unhappy.
I just did a search on Oilers trade on Twitter just to see the anger that was coming up. That's just
okay. Here are
it is. It's hard to defend this one.
Here are what I would say are the top 5 goalies in the free agent market. Tuukka Rask.
He's not going anywhere.
Frederik Andersen.
He's available.
Philip Grubauer.
He might be available. Probably not.
Linus Ullmark is reportedly going to re-sign with.
Yeah, he's virtually signed.
Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And Antti Ranta. I mean, there's not a 7-year goal. Now, if you're talking about them trading for somebody.
Yeah, that seems far more likely.
Yeah, like, if John Gibson's available or if, Jonathan Quick is available. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe Anderson's a 5-year goalie.
Yeah.
Maybe they go after Anderson for 5 years.
Maybe. I'm going to take a guess here for the Bruins, even though Lysel's the most talented player still there, but I told you why he could drop. I'm going to go Oscar Olsson, the right wing. We'll see, but I'm thinking that's maybe who the Bruins will go after.
So this is my last thing I'll say about it. It's one thing if they had traded with Nashville to move ahead of them and get Wallstead. Like it's one thing for Edmonton that everything can say, "Oh man, we couldn't help it." They traded with Nashville and they got Wallstead. It's another thing to actually trade away the pick to give them Wallstead.
This is the thing. The Zach Hyman contract is proof that the future right now doesn't matter for the Edmonton Oilers. It's the now. It's the next 2 or 3 years. Everything. Is that Perla agreeing with me, Russ?
Yes, that's Perla who's bugging me. Yes.
Okay. Everything rides on the next 2 to 3 years.
10:30 at night, Russ. What are you doing on a podcast?
Everything rides on the next 2 to 3 years in Edmonton. Is that they don't win the next 2 to 3 years, then Connor McDavid's going to say, "Get me the hell out of Dodge."
Yeah, it's anyway. Yeah. All right, so we've gotten Kevin's opinion on the Seth Jones. We've got basically all the trades right at this point.
Ristolainen, Jones, and the Ekman Larson deal.
The
only thing I wanted to add to that, Kevin, is everybody is expecting. I know in Buffalo, every Sabre fan friend of mine says, "When's the Eichel deal going to go down?" I get the feel that it's not going to go down.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not right away. I figure to get to training camp, and then we might see it. But they're going to have to move up that. I don't see. If you go and you look at each team, it's hard for anybody to come up with 4. First round picks or equivalents.
But it's never going to be easier than it is right now, Kev. Like right now, this is when you can do it, right? Like it gets harder after that.
It does get harder, but I think you can still do it in training camp.
Okay.
But you're right. It will be harder than it is now because people are moving on with their plans.
Yeah.
So,
like I really thought when I saw Columbus make that trade today to get that, gave them the number 5 and the number 11 or 12 pick, however you want to look at it. That positioned Columbus nicely for Eichel if they wanted to go for it. I thought they had.
They don't have the people on the roster though. Like
they must not
demanding people off your roster, and I looked at that and I don't see a good fit.
Well,
maybe it's
not necessarily on the roster, but like for example, if we talk about Minnesota, you've got Boldy and you've got Rossi, who are first round picks, who are one's 20 years old, one's 19 years old. They're a year away, maybe less away from being ready to play in the NHL. That's what the Sabres are looking for. They're looking for players that are ready to step in. They're not looking for 3 or 4 first round picks. That doesn't help them.
No, and you're right, but I was looking at those.
They went Lysell.
We're going to step in and play.
Also went Lysell.
There's another room of people up at 4:30 in the morning.
There.
There's another room of people up at 4:30 in the morning in Sweden. What do you have?
No. The Swedes are in Plymouth, Michigan.
Oh, they're in Plymouth, Michigan.
Oh no, these Swedes are. Yeah,
these Swedes. What are the Swedes doing in Plymouth?
For the U.S.
Right.
U.S.
this was like an invasion of some sort. No,
they're playing the U.S. Kids. There's a summer series that they play.
I got you.
The good thing about Lysell is you don't have to worry about paying him for a few years or signing him to an ELC because he'll probably stay over for a couple of years.
Okay.
Taylor Hall with a 4-year contract, $6 million per, with a no movement clause.
Yeah.
Thought that was a really good deal for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he knew what was going to happen. He was happy there. I think Boston's happy with it. The one thing, and I was looking today at salaries because I'm doing a column tomorrow. I'm just going to sort of grade all the trades that were made, and a lot of them are really about what your roster looks like in terms of your cap hits. And it's just amazing what an incredibly good job Boston has done.
Yeah.
To keep all of those really elite players down. Like, Bergeron's really not breaking the bank. Marchand didn't break the bank. Hall's coming in at $6 million.
Yep.
They got 5 or 6 guys that could be $8 million that are $6 million.
And there are not many veterans and Chara's gone, obviously, but there are not many veterans after the big deal that would take significantly less that he did year after year to allow them to pay other players. I mean, that's the system. That's the Bruins system.
Right.
And it works to its
that's the one thing that the NBA guys have always done really well. Now, saying that, they earn a little bit more money than the hockey players do. So it's a little easier to do it. But I'm always amazed why hockey players don't get together and plan things better as well. Because the NBA guys just do it out in the open.
They do.
All right. I'll come there and play with you. You take a little bit less. Yep. And I'll only ask for this, and we'll make it all work so we can play.
Fine.
But the problem is in the NBA, Kevin, they don't have to take less. Like when Harden goes to the Brooklyn Nets, they have the supermax contract that he still makes $40 million with Brooklyn.
But we've had cases of guys organizing themselves,
in order
to do it. But it is a little bit easier when you're making, the money that they make. And the other argument is obviously you just need 3 or 4 of them, where you would need 6 or 7 of them in the NHL.
Right.
Yeah, like Korea and Solani back in the day with Colorado, they took for 1 year, they took less to see if they could win the cup. Right. It didn't work, but yeah, no, you would think there would be more of that, especially.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be the case now, where if there's not a lot of cap room, maybe a couple players like Parise and Suter. Are Parise and Suter going to go to the same place again?
Yeah, that'd be funny. They did.
I mean,
I don't know, but I'm hearing that Suter wants like an actual contract.
That's what I heard too.
Wow.
So that's gonna, I don't know.
That's going to limit them a little bit.
I heard that's why the Flyers were a little bit. The Flyers were looking at that, and that's part of the reason that they did what they did.
That probably took Tampa out of it.
That takes contenders out of it, really.
Right. Yeah. So, that doesn't surprise me with Ryan. I know Ryan pretty well, and it doesn't surprise me. But realistically, he can still play.
He can still play.
Yes, he can play.
I mean, he's deserving of that.
Yeah.
But that isn't how the system kind of works.
But when you've made as much money as he has made, he's made a good amount of money at this point in his career. Don't you think you'd want to go someplace just to win? Like that would be the
thing.
Some
people can't make enough money. You know that.
But if you're just going to continue just selling, I mean, the interesting thing today about one of the things I think is kind of going unsaid in the Seth Jones trade is that him not going to Colorado really gives the Avalanche less excuse on Landeskog.
Well,
to me, the Landeskog thing, if Colorado is not going to pony up for Landeskog now, and they don't have to worry about paying Jones now.
Well, Colorado must have been out early in the process, because the report came out that said that it was between Chicago and Dallas, and once Dallas said that they weren't in it, then it fell to Chicago. So, I'm sure his brother playing with the Blackhawks helps.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can clear $12 million in cap space in less than a year, with Seabrook retiring and with the Keith trade.
Well, obviously, the Keith trade, comes. I mean, and this. But what do you think about this Landeskog with Kevin now with Colorado? I think that does change things a little bit.
I agree, and I do think they feel they still have a good shot of signing him.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you're right about that.
The bigger story that nobody seems to be discussing is Seth Jones says, I want to go away. I don't want to play in Columbus anymore. And we all assume, because Columbus now looks a mess. They're not hard to play against. Tortorella's gone. So how does that explain going to Chicago? They're not ready yet.
They're not ready yet. No,
they're a little messy, a little less messy.
There aren't that many teams that could do this. I mean, that's the bottom line is they got his brother.
Taves is coming back.
Yeah, no,
you got Taves, Dotch, and Dylan Strome up the middle. You've got Kane, DeBrincat, Kubalik. Now you've got him and his brother. I think they need to probably they re-sign Zadorov. He's a restricted free agent. They need maybe a defenseman, and they need a goalie unless they think Lankinen is for real. I mean, I think they're better off, and they're on an upward trajectory compared to Columbus, who I think is in full rebuild mode.
So the Oilers have drafted Xavier Bourgault, by the way. Xavier Bourgault goes to the Oilers.
Yeah, you're right.
He's been all over the place, by the way.
They're better. They're a better team.
Yeah,
they got more optimism there and everything. And maybe he just wanted a good center. He hasn't seen one in a while in Columbus.
Right. Well, Chicago's a sexy place to play. I mean, Chicago's a nice place to play. It really is. It's a great city. It's a great building. They have one Stanley Cup.
Fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not besmirching Chicago. I love Chicago, but I'm just saying, they're not. You can't say they're a contender. We don't quite know that.
No.
Yeah.
Second best pizza.
It's an original 6 team. Yes, deep dish pizza. I miss you.
Great.
Second best though.
Maybe the best uniform. I mean, they've got a lot going on there. So hey, we'll go for it.
They do.
And they have his brother, and that definitely mattered. I think in this whole thing, they made a point to go get his brother. That they were this was a long. They played a long game on this. they they did I mean, getting rid of Keith when they did a lot. They played a lot to do this to make this happen.
Yeah, just think that, because Caleb Jones is on an entry-level contract. I think he can stay with his brother. His brother can handle the maybe buy a condo with 2 rooms.
He could. Hey guys, I'm gonna have to run.
No problem.
Okay,
Kevin.
Just wanted to jump in. And,
thank you so much, Kev.
Yep. Enjoy the night, guys. See you later.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah, I guess we're gonna stick out the draft round first.
Yeah, we might as well stick it out. So listen, this isn't a bad pick with Bourgault, but again, he's got some huge numbers in the queue, and I don't know, are they all going to translate? I haven't seen enough of them though, to be honest, to say whether it's really good or bad.
He's got the coolest name so far. I mean,
yeah, he's got a cool name.
Xavier Bourgault is. It sounds that definitely. Yeah. There's no question that
Bourgault,
is a great name. They're interviewing Jesper Wallstedt now, in his Minnesota Wild hat.
Yeah.
Looking like, she's looking as a guy from the guy from the Talking Heads. Like, to me, that's what he reminds me of for some reason.
Yeah, he's a tall kid. He's 6'3".
Yeah,
same as it ever was.
That's what he looks like to me. Tall drink of water there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That we'll see what happens with Edmonton as far as this goes, but this is definitely. I mean, is he good enough to have made this trade?
I don't know. He's one of the guys that I don't have a ton on, so I can't tell you that.
And what's interesting about Minnesota is we saw that they obviously don't have a whole lot of faith in their goalie. They left him unprotected.
Right.
So and I heard, and obviously the guy in Carolina, he's he gets moved to Detroit, and that I heard that Brind'Amour just hated him. That's what I heard today. Brind'Amour. So that's kind of crazy.
But again, like I had said. When I went Charlotte TV, I don't understand why they chose Brady Shea over him. Brady Shea's a decent NHL defenseman, but he doesn't have near the upside that Jake Bean does. It's not even close now. But Brady Shea's good today, and that's a lot of what Brind'Amour cares about.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's what it came down to.
They're definitely giving Brind'Amour a lot of. I mean, remember
a ton. I mean, if he says he's not going to play the guy, that's why they traded him.
And Waddell is a GM by default. Remember, he kind of is he definitely can be a GM, but it wasn't his main thing to be the GM.
I think Brind'Amour has the most input of any coach with the GM in the league.
And I think that part of why Brind'Amour, stayed there was because of that. He knows that.
Wow, they went on a real tight shot at Jim Neal here. Good suit, though. I like it.
Yeah. Here we go.
The father there almost fell off the couch.
I know. I like that. People, this family's dressed to the nines.
They're going all in.
Wyatt Johnston, they got a really they look fired up. Cool, very cool. This family.
Yeah, see, I don't have a lot on Wyatt Johnston. Let's see where they had him at for elite prospects.
He's a center, so he's going to Dallas.
Let's see.
So he's from Toronto.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up because he's a guy I don't have extensive notes on at all.
So he was part of the U18 World Championship team.
Yeah. That I know, but that, there were a lot of guys in that tournament, and I don't have everything on every player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So again, he's playing against that team that, and for a second in the highlights, the team that has Flyers jerseys. I don't know what the hell they are, but I'm trying to figure that out. I've never seen another team with a Flyers logo someplace else.
Lehigh Valley does.
Yeah, but that's now that actually. All
right, so just to give you an idea of this one, Elite Prospects has him 54th.
Wow. And
I'm a part of them. The consolidated ranking on him was actually, they don't have a consolidated, but they're even McKenzie had him at 63. Sportsnet had him at 30. Wow, he's all over the place.
Does this qualify as a reach?
I mean, it seems that way, but I don't know him as a player much, Mike. I mean, I did watch the under-18s, but like I said to Eck, there's so many players. It's I'm inevitably going to miss one. And I just didn't have him on my list, even in my deep list that goes to 40-something, 50. But I will say this about Dallas. They've done a decent job drafting, but they have reached for some guys before. Mm-hmm. And certainly not with Heiskanen, right? That was an awesome pick.
Yeah. Well, the Panthers are on the clock now. This will be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, but I'll tell you where maybe they had a little bit of a reach. Hold on.
Yes, Mob Talk Radio. I'm eating a Pop-Tart. I'm starving. It's a cherry Pop-Tart.
My wife is making
like cherry.
My wife is making spaghetti for me. It smells freaking amazing, and I am just like dying here waiting to eat it. But
yeah, I'll tell you who the reach was. Ty Dellandrea was a little bit of a reach because he is not really a good offensive player, and they rushed him to the NHL. And he does everything else well, right? He's good like on faceoffs. He's good defensively. So Dallas has reached a little bit over the years. I don't know if this is one or not. It seems like it could be.
I mean, Jim Nill, I do trust him. Man. He really knows what he's doing usually.
Yeah, but Nill is a good guy, and he'll go with the temperature of the room too. With the other,
I think he does tend to like listen. I mean,
yes.
It'll be really, having Zito had a year now. When he first took over, he took over right before the draft last year, and it was kind of a crazy time, I think. So for him to have a whole year, it would be interesting to see which way he goes.
Number 2.
Because the one thing I would say about Zito, his strength is in talent evaluation. I've always thought that, like as an agent, he found guys that no one else found.
I mean, there's 3 or 4 guys I would take here easy. Olofsson, Samoskevich.
Knowing his ties to Finland, maybe Rocky is the pick. And Zach, you just said that. I didn't see.
Yeah. Do you think they think that's going to get those?
Pinelli is still there. I'll tell you one here. There's 2 that could be a little off the board for some. Corson Kuhlman's defenseman, just great offensive talent. It's going to need a fair amount of time. And I really like Stanislav Svozil, who is from the Czech Republic. And I just feel like he's getting no love, but he has a lot of tools. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm hearing there might be some Eichel movement here coming up. Just got a text.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do some research into this a little bit here.
They better do it before midnight because I'm not staying on until midnight.
I know. I'm trying.
Now I want some of ex-wife's spaghetti.
Oh, it's freaking smells amazing.
I have some ziti in the fridge, but I'm not going to go ziti. I'm going to do something easier.
And the crazy thing is, my wife cooks like twice a year.
I have some Kraft macaroni and cheese upstairs I can get.
That's always good.
Yeah, I've got mac and cheese, but I don't want to put
all
in
the time
effort.
here. When you've got 2 kids, you've got macaroni and cheese. You have it on tap pretty much.
Not the microwave crap.
Oh no, not the microwave crap.
No, I don't have the microwave crap.
No, you got to make the Kraft dinner. It's got to be the powdered stuff. It's got to be.
No, Annie's organic, not Kraft.
No,
Annie's is better than Kraft.
I think the best mac and cheese you can make at home is this. Like is you take like you get like the shell noodles. That's the best.
Yeah.
You get the shells because shells
are the best.
For macaroni and cheese, it keeps the cheese.
Because they hold the cheese. No question.
Exactly. And then you get a block of Velveeta and you melt the block.
No, that's plastic. It's not even cheese.
I know, but it's amazing. You get a block of Velveeta, melted it down, and you are set. That's going to be the best macaroni and cheese you've ever.
I just want to let people know, as far as this board goes.
And then 5 hours later, you get an angioplasty. But go ahead.
I'm going to say the most overrated guy on the board is Sasa Pasterjob.
Oh, really?
Even at 32, I wouldn't take him.
Wow, interesting.
I wouldn't take him.
No, it's a Pop-Tart, yes.
But they have a similar board than I do. I will also tell you that Daniil Chaika is a big Russian defenseman. There's so much of a possibility of a miss there for the NHL that I took him off my board. Like his skating's bad. There's good and there's a lot of bad.
He could be like a Boris Bolovic.
Are we waiting?
Not that bad, but
pick is in for Florida. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Well, the pick is in doesn't mean anything, as we've learned on this channel. It means
it doesn't mean anything.
Eventually, get to them. They really got to speed this up. This is crazy.
Please, the draft started at 8:00.
I will say this: last year, I did the pre and post for Sirius, and I was happy that I wasn't on the post this year because last year I finished the post, and I want to say it was around 12:30.
Yeah, when was that 9-hour thing you guys were talking about today? That in New Jersey?
Oh, that was New Jersey. New Jersey, remember, all in one day. The draft was all one day.
Oh, one day. That's right.
It was crazy.
So that was the last time they did it all in one day.
The pick is in, but instead we're going to talk to Chad Lucius from Winnipeg. So
yeah,
Jesus Christ,
he's a good kid. I like Chad.
He's a good kid, but they could time that better. Like this, I mean, they're going to the channel.
And this was on the NHL, not on ESPN. The show starts at 8.
You know what's surprising to me?
Owen Power did not get picked up like 8 25.
Right,
Yeah,
late
it's too
25.
long.
That was weird. I mean, you should start the show at 7:30 and have that first pick be at 8. I mean, if you're going to go but here's the other thing that's interesting. So I have over here, I've got the Sportsnet feed, which is the same as the ESPN feed, which is weird.
Yeah. ESPN had Elliot Friedman on their broadcast, and Sam Constantino was a Sportsnet guy too. No, I think this is being run. This is being like the expansion draft was produced by the NHL. It was not an ESPN production.
But this draft too is the same. Like the Sportsnet feed is the ESPN feed, which I thought for sure Sportsnet would have their own draft.
I'll tell you the one thing I prefer that ESPN's done here better than NBCSN. For whatever reason, I like their board better. It catches my eye better. I think it's very clear.
Yeah,
I think they've done a good job.
Now here we go. We're going to the Florida Panthers.
Even Gary looks tired, doesn't he?
He's had a long year, Russ.
Yeah. Feels like 2 years.
Okay, so Shane and one of the scouts is making.
Oh, and they had JP Morosi. Was that JP Morosi doing the?
I don't know, but Shane Sherla, I like it. He looks like he can still hit people.
Mackie Samoskevich is their pick.
That's good. I like Samoskevich. I mentioned him. He's another guy. Remember, he's another guy going to Michigan too.
He's another Michigan kid.
Yeah. Let me get my report on him.
He's from the USA, Chicago and the USHL.
Yeah. He's fast. He's good with the deeks. I like his calm passing, and he even though he's a center, I've seen him play the wing too, so he can do both. Really good player. This is a good pick. I like this
Okay,
pick.
so this is the longest name so far that's been picked.
Yeah, I had Samoskevich ranked 20th. So this is, usually if you rank someone 20, they could go anywhere from 20 down to 25, 6, 7. And so this is a good range. I like this pick. See, they're putting him as a right winger. He can play both though.
Kid from Connecticut.
Yep.
American kid.
Yeah, he's going to have a really good year for Michigan. You watch.
Another Chicago Steel alum.
Yep.
Well, that Chicago Steel team is like ridiculous, right? Like they were just like so crazy dominant that it wasn't even.
Their GM just left and is now an assistant GM with the Leafs. They recognized him as a excellent having an excellent eye for talent. That's why Kyle Dubas brought him in.
I keep an eye on Ottawa. I'm getting this rumor just now too.
I do want to point this out too, Ek.
Yeah.
Just because the broadcast has him as a right winger doesn't mean they're right. So I'm going to go with a buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. He does smart scouting because he's from Boston. Good guy. He says he's a natural born center. I've seen him play both. So it's like, you can't always go with the broadcast on these guys. I know it's the broadcast, but a lot of times they don't see these players and they go by what central scouting tells them. And they don't really do much digging after that. Sam does. Sam knows. He's probably saying similar things, but I'm just saying you can't always go with that.
You were saying something about Ottawa?
Yeah, Ottawa and Buffalo continue to talk about, which is weird because, you would think that Buffalo wouldn't want to trade Reinhart in the division, but Ottawa would really like to get him.
I don't think they're concerned about trading Reinhart in the division. They're concerned about trading Eichel in the division.
Yeah, so the names that come up on this right now, somebody's work that Colin White and Eric Brandstrom would be part of the deal.
For who? I forget. I was
Reinhart.
I don't like the deal. I don't like Brandstrom at all. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I never liked him in the draft. I never thought he was going to be a big offensive talent. He has no bad defensive ability.
Do you happen to remember who was Brandstrom's defense partner at the World Junior in 20?
Oh God, no.
Rasmus Dahlin.
Dahlin, there you go. But he still wasn't good. Now.
No, but I think that's what Buffalo might be thinking.
That's bad thinking.
It's bad thinking, but it might be what they're thinking. Now, Colin White, the thing that Buffalo would be attracted to is $4.75 million for the next 4 years, locked up on a.
And he is injury prone. I like Colin White, but he's injury prone.
Yeah, locked up on a reasonable deal.
Yeah, it's going to be. Oof.
See, Mike, every time you come up with something like that, like he was a teammate, I am going to go and counter you with, and of course I'm forgetting the name, so I'm just going to pull up the list. Danny Rusin. Danny Rusin scored 116 points when Sidney Crosby had 168. I covered a game with Danny Rusin when he was playing for the Manchester Monarchs. good kid. After I interviewed him and after I saw him play, I realized he got a lot of his points, like 90% of them, from Sidney Crosby.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there are players like that strewn throughout history, and the one that pops up in my mind is a winger named Denny Sear, S-C-Y-R.
I remember the name. Yeah, I remember Denny Sear.
Denny Sear was Denny Savard's line mate in junior. He scored 190 goals in 3 seasons with Montreal, and all of them with Denny Savard. So he was drafted by Calgary in the first round, and then eventually got to Chicago and had parts of 2 seasons, and one was okay, but it was all Denny Savard.
I mean, could you imagine a junior kid back then trying to cover a spinorama? Like, no way.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm working on this. So Eichel.
All right. So on this one, I forget who's picking it next, Mike.
Next pick is Columbus.
Columbus, yeah. Columbus always goes. I always have a hard time nailing down Columbus. I'll tell you who. Now do they have one more in the first round, or is this their last one?
No, they traded 32. So
okay,
So
if it were me, I would go for the marketing and a really good underrated player here in Dylan Duke. He is from the area, and he's a heck of a player who played for the NTDP. A couple of weeks ago, he said Columbus never even contacted him.
Right.
I don't know if they ever did. I know there's probably better players on the board, but we always talk about it.
Yeah.
This is a player that wants to play for Columbus, and he's good.
Right.
Right? We don't get a lot of them.
That's a great point. If you've got somebody that wants to play there, and at this point in 25, because 25, you could go wrong here very easily. You can easily make a wrong pick here.
Yeah.
So why not take a chance with somebody who really wants to play?
The pick is in.
But they won't do that. They're going to do something that I would never expect.
Well, he definitely goes his own way.
Yarmo goes his own way. He does.
He doesn't pay attention, and it's worked for him. I mean, for
the most part, it has. Yeah.
Like Dubois was a hell of a pick. Oh
no, that was a great pick. He just he defied the odds on that one. That was great. Not because of the player, but making him a center. That was awesome.
Although then going with a coach that ended up causing them to lose Dubois.
Well, Torts will do that.
I mean, that's the crazy thing about that. Okay, so
honestly, I'll defend Torts. It's not players wanted to leave Columbus before Torts got there.
All right, here's Yarmo making his pick now. You're taking. He's up. Okay.
That's nice they let a season ticket holder do it. That's cool. I love that.
Corson Ceulemans.
Oh, Ceulemans. All right. So he's one of my favorite players in this draft because I talked about him. You listened to XM, right? So I mentioned he only played 8 games in the AJHL, and then he played 6 in the under-18s. He is really fast. He's got great vision, great wrist shot. He's not physical, but he's good with the stick. He does have some turnover issues. There's no question about it. But he has good puck pursuit and causes turnovers too. He's one of those guys that can catch up to you and get the puck back. He does a lot to keep a puck in the offensive zone too on the power play. He's a power play guy too. So there's a high ceiling on him, but there's also a high development cycle because he didn't play a lot last year. He was in the AJHL. I think he's going to Wisconsin this year.
Yeah. And
so this is a guy where I think this is a very astute pick. I love this pick. And again, if he comes through and does well, then we'll be talking about Cale Makar and Carson Ceulemans, 2 defensemen from the AJHL. Like that league's starting to produce. Like we talked about it, San Jose drafted a guy last year or 2 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, this was the Toronto pick. This was the Toronto first round pick.
Well, they don't need a good skating defenseman. So.
they have more than a few.
Today.
They traded Ceulemans for Foligno.
Right. It was a first and a fourth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
that's an interesting thing because really, if that turns into a rental and Ceulemans turns into a 5 or a 4, probably a 5, they lose that trade for sure.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think there's still a chance, and obviously now the news came out today that Zach Hyman is agreed to a deal with Edmonton. It's just not known whether it's going to be 7 or 8 years with the Oilers, and there may be a compensation of a draft pick to do the sign and trade. But now that Hyman is definitely gone from the Leafs, I think it increases the possibility of Foligno being re-signed by Toronto. It's sort of like the Jake Muzzin scenario. Where they traded a first-round pick to get him, and really he only played a few games before he got hurt and was playing hurt in the playoffs. I think there's a chance the Leafs sign Foligno. Foligno would provide at least some of the stuff that Zach Hyman was able to do.
I just say I'm saying bless Bill Guerin for making a quick pick here.
Yes.
Yeah, thank goodness.
We appreciate it.
He has picked I love seeing it if he was living.
Somebody
here.
wearing skinny jeans.
Carson
Lambos. All right, this is a good pick too. Carson Lambos. It's interesting. There's a lot of people. He's another one that you will get a lot of different opinions on Lambos. He's another really good skater. I think he was on that U18 team with Canada. He is another guy that I think they only used him on the penalty kill because they were so deep.
Really?
It's late, but I think that's what I remember.
Uh-huh.
But I do like his skating. I do think there's a lot of ability here. And you know what? They're trying to hit a home run late in the first. That's good because there's a chance that they might connect on this one.
Yeah. No, this is a really good. This is interesting. I mean, I think Bill Guerin has done a heck of has really proven to be a heck of a GM so far.
No, Lambos was never top 10, never.
No.
Matt Gaffney was asking that.
Okay, yeah.
But this is a good pick. I mean, this is a really, really, really good pick. Hold on, I have more notes on them. I'm pulling them up because I remember
we only have 5 more picks to go.
Good Lord.
5 seems like a lot, Mike.
I don't know if I can do this.
No. Six.
I don't know if I can do this, kids. All right, we'll give it a shot.
We have to.
All right,
let's see. Hold on.
I'm going to get my spaghetti. I'm going to
get your spaghetti. Keep talking. I'll get my Lambos.
Oh,
here we go. He also has, a lot of dangle in his game. Oh, here was the other thing. Shifty skating, good snapshot, and he was a forward. He was a forward early in his career, and when you watch him in the offensive zone, he still sort of plays like a forward that way, which is good.
I noticed the one highlight they showed of him there. It was like a scoring a goal from almost inside the crease. Like
So he does think like a forward still. I like Lambos. This is good.
Yeah. So we got 6 picks and 5. It's a good.
I ranked him a little after 29, but
Wow.
Guerin's doing good here.
Carolina on the clock, then Colorado.
All right, so who's falling to them?
Colorado. Then
they got the best defenseman, unless they go Svoza, which I don't think they will.
Then New Jersey. Then Vegas.
I'm going to say Pinelli, Olofsson, Laheru. Sean Barons would be a heck of a pick here.
Would they go for the Finnish kid who's still up there? The
Rati.
No, Rati's been taken. He was taken, earlier. Yeah, he got taken. Trust me.
That's all he doesn't.
I don't think so, but okay.
I don't think he was picked, Russ.
I don't know. Look it up. I thought he was.
Nope.
I don't remember him being picked.
Hold on.
Pretty sure they showed him. All right, maybe not.
They might have shown him, but he was not picked, Russ.
Okay.
Okay.
My bad.
You got Aho there.
Rati could be a good pick here because again, he needs a little kick in the butt, and he's got a lot of potential.
And Finns in Carolina.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Rati could be a really good pick here. I thought for some reason he was off the board. See, that's good for you guys.
Now you never know.
It's interesting though. I would take Sean Barons here, but I don't think Carolina would take a 5'9" defenseman. Rod Brindamore probably doesn't want that. And this kid hits, and he plays skate, and his skating's good, and and it will get better. But his skating's already gotten better in a year, and he's tricky in the offensive zone, and he does everything, penalty kill, everything. Great kid, and because he's 5'9", I don't think they'll take him. Well, he's listed at 5'10", so whatever.
Yeah.
Carolina, Colorado, Jersey from the Islanders, Vegas, Montreal. I think Montreal will take a goalie. They need one. And Chicago.
Well, I will tell you this. well, Eck heard it, so sorry, Eck, I'm repeating myself.
No,
here.
you're fine. I'm going to get my spaghetti.
Okay. But Benjamin Gaudreau, who could be the next goalie off the board, could be. He had 417 days in between starts. Because remember, league gets shut down, and then he finally plays.
Little rusty,
but he played well in the under 18s for Canada. He did. He was pretty damn good. Got a gold medal.
Carolina is stringing us along here. We're a minute left.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yes, shocking. Well, let's say this. I thought there was an outside chance that an Eichel trade would be tied to a top pick in this draft. And now, obviously, unless a team took a player that was going to be included in a deal for Eichel, that's not going to happen. Again, I like in talking with people the last couple days, especially when I went down to cover the Sabres media availability on Thursday, I got the feeling, I was told by somebody, this deal is too complex to happen. Like, they got the Ristolainen deal done.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's going to happen with Reinhart. I would think if I was gambling and you're going to ask me who is going to get traded first, Reinhart or Eichel, I would say Reinhart. It's an easier deal.
I do want to point this out. The spaghetti looks great. If I ate that now, I would never get to sleep.
The spaghetti does look really good.
It would stop my heart.
Man,
I'm not going to eat all of this. There's no way I'm putting it in this.
Man, I'm tempted.
I was like, that's really ambitious. If you did.
Yeah, this is like, I'll eat half of this maybe.
I'm tempted to go out and get some Mighty Taco right now.
We have a trade. Oh my goodness. Carolina's trading this pick.
I can't.
Wait 5 minutes. Wait, they wait 5 minutes. They trade the pick, and now they're going to give them 5 more minutes.
Never attractive eat on the air. Sorry, guys. Nah. I'm down to nothing to nothing to drink. I've drank all my iced teas. It's bedlam here in the house.
You drink all your iced teas. You have like gallon bottles.
You would think. I mean, I drank them all. I'll be right back. No, Mike, you're all by yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, so great. Thank you very much. We'll take some questions in the chat here because everybody has friggin' abandoned me.
You got this, Mike. You got this.
Yes, okay. I deserve a raise. Okay. Meet up at the Anchor Bar. No, thank you. The Anchor Bar is terrible. Sorry. But by the way, was it Kevin Weeks mentioned Lenova Pizza on the broadcast? It's like, that's a local Buffalo place that's well known for their barbecue wings. That's their signature item. But I was a little surprised that he got that local and mentioned a place that probably nobody other than Buffalonians know.
I have a great Sicilian pie, but I said I'm going to leave that for tomorrow. I ate enough of that today.
Yeah, I got
Cheez-Its. It was between Cheez-Its and Swedish Fish.
I've got one of those Celeste $1.99 pizzas, the frozen pizzas in there. That's probably the consistency of a friggin' Frisbee, but
yeah, I went with the real good Sicilian pie today.
What I was going to say about the Eichel thing is the Rangers have been working like crazy tonight, I'm told, to get this thing done.
I'm sure.
But still, it's just they are, like you said, Mike. It is a very complicated thing, and
yeah.
I mean, you saw that the Sabres trotted Eichel out onto the ice today. Did you see that? They had him skate today.
Well, I thought he was in Boston. I think it was just
they showed him skating because they
he was skating, but he's not in Buffalo. I think he's back home.
He's in Boston.
Yeah,
but for him to like be shown skating, it was kind of
like showing Carey Price skating. Let's
talk about that for a second.
After he had knee surgery.
Carey Price is going to be fine by the start of the season.
Yeah, okay.
Surprise.
What a load of horse crap. But
I guess so.
Now, Thomas Boyle asked, he said, good news with Tavares being ready for camp. There was talk about Tavares coming back for the second round if they had beaten Montreal. So
yeah.
I'm not surprised that he got – now, of course, that was a severe concussion. They were going to be absolutely careful with him because he's got 4 years left on a contract. He's making – he's their captain. They were going to be careful. But he's – I didn't think there was any doubt he was going to be fine.
So they're interviewing Boucher about his son. Wow.
Yeah, that's got to be exciting for him. My gosh. And his, people think Boucher was a goalie, and he wasn't feisty. Boucher was feisty, man. Boucher was You remember Boucher was famous for the big standoff he had with Bobby Clarke.
Yeah.
He wouldn't sign a deal, and Clarke it was a big thing. He was a holdout. The Flyers never had a guy hold out ever, I don't think, before that.
Yep.
You know who his agent was at the time? Tom Laidlaw. How about that?
Oh wow.
So Tom Laidlaw was part of that.
I know that guy.
What was that?
I know that guy.
I know Tom Laidlaw was part of that, part of the Brian Boucher history there.
I don't understand. Is Carolina getting extra time here? What's going on here?
This is. I mean, what the?
I don't want to complain or anything, but
yeah, far be it from you and I to complain.
Feel free to complain. My family, I promised them I would watch some of the winter. We're going to watch some of the opening of the Olympics tonight.
You could watch what happened today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
No, I know.
Just go on the Olympic channel.
I know, and you watchable at any time. But I thought I was kind of looking forward to sitting down with my family, eating my spaghetti, and watching watching some Olympics things tonight. And
so we're not your family.
Here we are waiting for Carolina to make a trade.
Are we your hockey family? I mean,
of course we're my hockey family. I spend more time with you than I do them.
2 weeks of Olympics, I may not watch 1 minute of it.
Oh, on a side note, Monday, August 9th, I do want to go to that John Anderson concert. So
let's do it. Okay. Is it Monday, August 9th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll stay.
Yeah, sure. Leave me out of it.
Come to Ocean City.
It's in Ocean City, Mike.
I played at that same place where he's playing.
That's funny.
It's on the boardwalk there. It's awesome. It's an awesome place to see a show.
Cool.
I saw the Hooters there last year.
Nice.
Musical crimes against humanity. The Hooters.
Not in Philly.
Are they a Philly band?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hooters are a huge Philly band. They and they've written a lot of some pretty good songs too, and not just for other people too.
I only know the and she dances, whatever that's called, and she.
Time After Time, the Cyndi Lauper "Time After Time" song. That's written by the Hooters.
Oh really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not swaying me on that one.
They're at Live Aid, Mike. You can look it up.
I know.
We're at Live Aid.
I know.
When I was in high school, there was a big the local radio station WMMR in Philadelphia had a contest that you fill out 3x5 cards saying I want the Hooters to play at Cherry Hill East, where I was going to school, and you send them in and do we have the trade? Here's the trade.
No, nobody said a damn thing.
Carolina is trading number 27 to Nashville for 40 and 51. Thank God.
But Nashville should have to make the pick right away because we had to wait extra time for them to announce that we still have to wait.
I know. Oh my goodness. So Carolina, who really desperately could use something good, has decided to trade away their only first-round pick. So the fans in Carolina,
I'm going to tell you who they're going to take. Nashville. Ready?
Okay.
Nikita Chibrikov.
Okay. All right. Let's see it happen. I mean, think about is there a Carolina draft party somewhere, and they sat around the entire first round to not have a pick tonight? Is that possible?
Oh, there's a lot of people in that room.
I've been in that room. I know that room.
I see Jeff Kilty, but that's a lot of people.
It's funny how much Poyle's son looks like him.
Yeah.
It's like Spock and Son of Spock.
By the way, we should give kudos to the Seattle Kraken, who put the logo in the locker room on the ceiling. So now we don't have to worry about guys whistling at us and getting mad at us if we step on the logo.
I'll never forget how I was almost kicked out of the province of Ontario for stepping on the Senators logo during the Senators Ducks Stanley Cup final. And it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
I do know that in the
5 minutes.
Unbelievable. In the Maple Leafs locker room, they put a rug over the emblem when the media comes in, so they can't.
That's what they should do. I mean, I thought that was a smart thing.
That's
to do.
better. At least they're not putting a rope around it. Remember back teams would put a rope around it,
or two 19-year-old intern girls standing dry.
Can't go there. Can't step on it.
That may not be a bad thing.
No, it's just horrible.
Wow, they actually making the pick this quick. Nice.
But the pick is in. Thank goodness. Thank you guys. Thank you. Bless you from everything.
Yes.
That we are here.
We appreciate you.
At this point, Russ, if we were at the draft, we'd be like, please get us on the bus.
Look, everybody went home. David Poyle's out there by himself.
Okay, this guy's a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey behind him on the wall. He's got like a Robin Francis jersey behind him on the wall. Zachary,
okay.
With the 27th pick in the first round of the NHL draft, I would like to order 2 orders of hot chicken.
Zachary Lahero is an interesting guy because he does have a little bit of Brad Marchand in him. We talked about that.
Okay.
He's out on a street corner.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody went home.
His scout speak is stocky kid that's hard on pucks. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the most basic of scout speak, but he does have a scoring touch to him. He does have a jerky, tough side to him.
Yeah.
And so, taking him here is good. He's got good speed, and he really, one of the little things I noticed with him, he knows how to lock eyes with his line mates and get him the puck at the right time without maybe the defense reading what he's going to do, and that's pretty good too.
That is good.
I had him ranked like 23rd, so this is a good spot for him to go, I think, and I think this is a really good pick.
Okay, here the Colorado is on the clock now, and then comes New Jersey, and I've been told that New Jersey was trying all day to trade this 29th pick, so we'll see what happens.
They failed.
They may not have. We'll find out.
Okay, like I said, Russ, at this time, if we were at the draft, we'd be begging that these picks go really quickly so we could go out and have a beverage.
Well, here's a funny thing. All right, so this happened a couple of years ago. I want to say it was day one, and I was writing an article for Rob Parent, and I forget the paper was at the Delaware Times.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, we're in the building. And I don't know, you may have been there too, Mike. You definitely were there. And they shut off the lights. You remember that? All of a sudden. And so, I'm trying to write this article about prospects, and I barely have any light. I had just enough light for my keyboard, and it's like it was the hardest article to write. So I even said to Rob, listen, there could be a ton of mistakes on here because they shut off the lights on us.
That's so funny. I remember that draft. Like you were saying earlier today, Mike, when the thing comes to your town, when the draft comes,
it's
to Philly,
a big deal.
Or when it's not
Toronto, but everywhere else.
It's not as much fun for you, but when the Stanley Cup final comes to your town, which Mike maybe one day you'll get to experience, when the Stanley Cup final comes to your town, that is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Or to the city of the team that I cover. But
No, they're telling you Toronto doesn't like the draft. People got up and left after their first round picks.
No, Russ. Again, what it was they were there for the first round, and then they all left in lockstep. It's like, okay, second round.
They all left. They all got up together and left. I know. I was there.
Here's an interesting thing about this because, with teams having, normally what would happen, right? All the teams are on the floor of a draft thing. So,
yes,
of course, there's a kind of a requirement that everybody sticks around to the end, and they're all basically there. A lot of people do leave, but there's always the tables always have somebody for me. So in this situation, right now, that some of these teams have just left, they've gone. There's no reason for a team once they made their pick. So trying to make a trade is a little bit harder. If you're New Jersey trying to move this pick, it's you don't have the guys, you don't know who's around. It's been a long day for a lot of teams. There were a lot of trades that happened today.
See, in the era where the first round and then the 2 through 7 are separate, at drafts that I've been in, I'm sure drafts that Russ has been at, the most sought after pick is that 33rd pick at the beginning of the second round because all these teams and other scouts.
Yeah. There's a guy that everybody on the table says, yes, he's rated so much higher, we got to get him.
Right. That's the big thing.
Right.
The CA is outstanding, Thomas. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. It's really good.
Yeah, we can't wait for Montreal next year.
Hey, we got a pick here, Colorado, 28th.
All right, Joey Sakic, man, looking good. Joey still can.
Yeah, Joe's quick on the draw here. I like it.
Looks like he can still play. He's definitely in shape.
Does.
They couldn't afford his salary.
He has picked Oscar.
Oscar Olsen. Yeah, I've been talking about him. This is a good pick. This kid really, I really like him. I think he could project even to a potential second liner. I'm not sure exactly why he didn't get picked earlier, but you know what? I think this is smart on their part. They looked at it and they said, all right, this guy fell to us.
Right.
We're going to do it. He's a versatile skater, strong wrist shot, has a nose for the net. I know that doesn't say exactly what it says on the screen, but
No, I like what you're saying.
That's my stuff.
He looks 12 years old.
He does.
He played in J20. So
check out the face-off circles.
Oh yeah,
with the ads on the thing. Oh my gosh!
And the room on the ice. There's a lot of room on the ice.
Yeah. So Oscar Olsson. There you go. Any relation to any of the Olsons?
I don't know.
I know it's a very popular name. And
Frederick Olsson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Olsson's off the board.
All right. So we've got 4 to go. 4 to go, guys.
Who is going to be the Devils'
It's
kind of
20 minutes
here?
at least.
Let's see. We were checking to see.
You guys are watching us eat spaghetti. We really appreciate it.
All right. I'm gonna say
still 114 people out there watching. We really appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we do appreciate you. Thank you.
You're watching us eat spaghetti.
Although I would talk into a vacuum on the draft day and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to go Simone Robertson here.
Simone Robertson. Okay.
He's been moving up the charts too. Another Swede, and he's been a riser. So I'm going to say
they want scoring in New Jersey. Like New Jersey, they definitely need scoring.
Yeah, he could score.
He's not a member of the Olsson hockey family.
He's not a member of the Olsson hockey family. Okay. I think it's cool that they have the Swedish players, that they're all together in this room in Plymouth.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like
everybody's together in Plymouth because of the summer showcase. So everybody's there.
Right. I mean, that's kind of cool though. That obviously they would probably like to be with their families, some of them, but
And actually I do want to point out, like when they said on the broadcast, Beniers is still recovering from a knee injury, so he's not at the summer showcase. Honestly, I think it's better that Beniers doesn't play the summer showcase. I think he's at this point doesn't need to prove himself. Why
if you've gone
bother?
second overall, don't play. You're going
to be on the team. It doesn't matter,
right? And you're going to an expansion team. You absolutely, and there's nothing to risk except for getting hurt.
Right.
I mean, there's no point in that.
Julian asks me how will they pay for Sharangovich. They'll be able to pay him. New Jersey has plenty of money. They had like $34 million or something.
Well, this is the pick that they got for Palmieri. Right. This is the Palmieri. This was the Islanders pick.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going back to the Luke Hughes thing. It's like, we get it. How many times have we seen this already?
That was very cool.
Well, they've already shown the Boucher celebration about.
It is funny how much Luke Hughes looks like a mixture of Zach and
he does
of the other two Hughes. Like he has like part of like Quinn and part of Jack.
He's like the in between.
He's totally in between them. Like he's completely got like Quinn's hair, Jack's mouth.
I love Holtz. I love Mercer. I don't love the Shaq pick there. Hughes, Ty Smith, Heishier, all good picks. Like they've done a good job lately.
This is piggybacking off of Larry Brooks and what he said this morning. John Vogel from The Athletic, who covers the Sabres. Sabres asking price for Jack Eichel is too high for teams, according to Elliot Friedman. So Vogel's just repeating what Friedman said. This is classic. Okay, we want to get them to lower the price, so let's float it out there that they're asking too much.
Yeah, and Larry said fantastical.
Look what they got for Ristolainen. I mean, like that's like. If they got that for Ristolainen, they've got to be They got to be staying high on Eichel. I mean,
that trade bolsters Kevin Adams' confidence that it does. Yeah.
But Mike, the big question is: Larry used the word fantastical. Is that a real word? Come on, you should be able to know before looking.
Any questions in the chat room, guys? While we're here, we can talk about anything.
Yeah, believe me, we are going to have a show on deadline, or not deadline, on free agent frenzy day.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is
ask me anything you want about remaining picks. I don't care.
Yeah, Russ, you got Russ. We got the top guy here. If you have any rumor questions too,
fantastical is a word.
Wow,
when are you going to have John Boucher on the show? Timothy, it's funny you asked that question. I just talked to him, and Boucher and I go way back. We are buddies for sure. I interviewed him years ago, like before when I first started.
I did too. I ran into him at a couple drafts many years ago.
One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, and he'll definitely come on the show at some point.
Great.
I don't know. Fitzy's suit. I think he should have gone dark. I don't know why he went tan with blue. You can tell him that. Chase Stillman's a good prospect. Yeah, I think he is related too.
Corey Stillman?
Yeah, I think so.
From Peterborough?
Yeah. Let's see.
What's his first name?
I think there's better guys on the board, but I think this is a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, this gives he's this is interesting.
Dad Corey, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Corey Stillman. Okay,
brother Riley. So there you go.
Yes, it's Stillman.
Yeah, well, Riley. Yeah,
wait,
Riley.
And he wears 61, which was I think Corey Stillman's number, wasn't it?
I think so.
If I remember right. Yeah.
And just because it's getting late, I'm looking up one other little detail here. Somebody in the chat room, by the way, said Olofsson has the same agent as Landeskog. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but that's not why I said it was a good pick.
Okay,
but so that could help them maybe.
We'll go a couple questions. Landeskog update. No, not yet. I keep hearing New Jersey. I can keep hearing St. Louis. I know things have. Kevin said they still think they can sign him. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, things have gotten pretty bad, and they've got to sort of have a cooling down period here, I think, to make that happen because they got a little intense. So it's possible, but I like I said before, I do think not getting Seth Jones makes that easier for them, and harder for them to justify not signing him. I do think that Sakic believes he's way overpriced, and I think that Sakic honestly thinks he's on the downside a little bit, and I think that that's what's going for this big, which is really hard to say because he's not that old, and he's
28 and he's played I think 8 years.
Yeah, so it's like if you're going to give him an 8-year contract like he wants, or that's a lot, right? So,
well, that was why the reports were that Sakic had structured offers to Landeskog where the AAV was more on shorter term deals and spreading it out on an 8-year deal. So. I mean, the ideal, they would love to get him on a 5-year deal if it didn't kill the cap. But they have Makar and they have McKinnon to sign.
Yeah, that's the big issue. What do you guys think of the market is for Schmidt? There is a market for Nate Schmidt. There is. It's not like Montreal has interest. The Islanders have interest. I was told. There definitely is a market for Nate Schmidt. Vancouver, giving up on him or moving him out because they need the cap space is what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, Nate Schmidt is still, he can still play. He's not maybe a little bit, was a little bit overrated before.
A little bit overrated, yeah.
But I think that Montreal is still looking to make a big move. Yes. Montreal even today, it even came out, I think it was Drager that said they had kicked the tires with Eichel, which I did some research on, and it's true, but they really don't have and to get Eichel.
To get Eichel, they would have to give up probably Caulfield, not have.
Yeah. Or definitely Kotkaniemi at least.
No, Kotkaniemi doesn't
get it done, but they'd have to do more than that. They'd have to probably give up their first next year. They'd have to give up They'd have to give up other things too. Any trade for Johnny Gaudreau out there? It's an interesting name, and as time goes on, perhaps. But I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's coming Philadelphia's way. I think the Flyers have done what they're going to do.
Devils.
Maybe. It's possible.
Zach, our Columbus blogger, Foligno stay in Toronto or to Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota is even in the mix. I know, and the logically because Marcus is there,
and they love Marcus in Minnesota.
Yeah, they love him. Well, and he's a poor man's Tom Wilson. He's a really big, aggressive forward. No, I like Zach. I think and you can tell me whether you think that him going back to Columbus is dead. I do, because Columbus is in a rebuild. Maybe they want him because he's a leader, but I think he wants to try to win a cup, and you could be hilarious.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you're right. I think that Toronto's extremely enticing him, but I do believe that part of how they got him to waive to go to Toronto was saying that he was welcome back there. So the question is whether or not, his family, it's a family thing probably with him. It's probably comes down to his family.
I mean, okay, he was born in Buffalo, but his family's from, they live in Sudbury, Ontario. So it's like, or they have until, he, because he played junior there. I don't know if the family is, has homes there, but they're, he's an Ontario kid or has been an Ontario kid at times. So but I don't think that Columbus is a rebuilding team. He is 33 years old. He's had a really good career.
Yeah.
I think he wants to try to win a Stanley Cup. That was one of the reasons he waived to go to Toronto. I think
Toronto was his team too. Like as a kid, he was he wasn't going to go anywhere else. That's what I was told.
Right.
And his family loves it in Columbus. He likes it in Columbus. So Russ, here's a question. Where do you think Connor Lockhart would go?
3rd, 4th, 5th round, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Caleb, do you think Hextall will try to trade Marcus Pettersson or Zucker? I'm surprised he hasn't traded Zucker yet.
Obviously, they left Zucker.
Oh, Zach Dean went. This is a really good pick for Vegas.
For Vegas is center. They need centers.
Yeah, he's a really good center out of Gatineau, equal playmaker to goal scoring. I really like Zach Dean. I spoke to other people.
Great hair. Mm-hmm.
I spoke to other people about him. I knew I had him ranked higher than others, but I felt like he would be a first rounder, and I think that's a good pick. Really good acceleration, like smart player. I think this is a really smart pick.
32nd or 31st pick, the Montreal Canadiens select Anna.
Yeah, Anna's a good, she'd be a good pickup for anybody. She was for us.
Yeah, this is
Okay, so they're showing Zach Dean here, and it looks like a mosh pit.
I know. Well, in the queue, they don't do great video. Let's face it.
It's definitely you do start feeling for guys who are sitting with their families right now waiting to get picked and that don't go in the first round.
Oh yeah, there's definitely 3 or 4 that.
That's a nightmare. That's a nightmarish type thing. I know a family that went through that, and I talked to him about it. And, one day I wanted to write the story about it, and the kid was expected to go in the first round, didn't go in the first round, didn't actually end up going until like the 4th or 5th round. And it was just it's really it's a tough day.
That's the old thing that Don Cherry used to.
I do see some other draft questions too.
Yeah, that's the old thing that Don Cherry used to recommend. It says if you don't think if you're not sure that you're going in the first round, don't go to the draft.
Right.
What do we have here?
I'll give you my thoughts, Ken Smith, on Sasha Pastujov. I think he's a smart player. He has scored a lot of goals. He scores clutch goals. I've seen him score series-winning goals, game-winning goals. His skating is really bad. So he's a guy that if he figures out his skating, can be a bottom 6 guy in the NHL. But he really has to figure it out. And again, I go back to guys like Matthew Strome. The other Strome was really a good player, but he really couldn't skate. And he worked with Barb Underhill, and it still didn't happen for him. I think he's in the ECHL now. So, I think Pastujov's going to have a similar path if he can't fix his skating, but all the other things are there.
Very cool.
We have 2 picks left, and Montreal on the clock.
What are the Flyers going to do with Jake Voracek? That's a good question.
Nothing.
There's not much they can do with him. The only thing I could honestly see happening would be a swap for what's his name out in St. Louis?
Tarasenko.
For Tarasenko. Sorry, getting tired. But I could see a Tarasenko for Voracek swap happening because both teams might just want to change that up. Both teams might just say, you know what? If Voracek
at this point, I wouldn't do it if I was the Flyers because I just wouldn't do it.
I don't know that I would. I think I would. I think I would just say, okay, why? It depends if you have to give up more to get. It depends if they would want more for that. If they could just.
Well, they might want a little more only because Voracek's got an extra year over Tarasenko.
Yeah. No, it's possible.
That's the sticking point there.
This is interesting. John Warrow of the Associated Press. Owen Power and Matt Beniers are the first teammates to go 1-2 in the NHL draft since 1969.
Yeah. Wow.
When Réjean Houle and Mark Tardif went.
Oh, that's cool. Mark Tardif, yeah. I do want to answer Ganon's question because he says, what's wrong with Ratty? I mentioned it before. He's got a lot of great upside, except he doesn't have that full motor all the time, and that's something that's scaring away teams for sure.
Yeah.
John Shapiro, besides Jack Eichel, what else could the Rangers be working on?
I was told that their backup plan is Tarasenko. That they have a plan in place that could get Tarasenko. I don't know.
That's all Glenn Sader. If they're getting Tarasenko, Glenn Sader has wanted him forever, and I don't know why they would do that.
And him and Panarin are best buddies.
Yeah. I still don't know why they would do that. They played in the same World Junior team. Big deal. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, but I did hear today that is an option for them if they don't get Eichel. Let's see.
I mean, that's 2 totally different play. One's a center, one's a winger.
Yeah.
Well, the injury situation is.
So will he score more goals than they traded away in Buchnevich? That would be the question I would ask.
Is PK Subban a viable option D for Montreal to replace Weber temporarily?
No, please.
No.
The quick answer is no for sure. But I personally would love to see PK Subban back in Montreal, but I don't think there's any way it can happen.
I don't know if Montreal wants to see that.
I don't think Bergevin wants to see it.
Right.
You know, but PK, if PK
the city loves him. He was very charitable.
He's obviously a huge guy there. PK could the emotional lift of going back to Montreal could maybe revive PK a little bit. I think.
Okay.
Any news on Kuznetsov? No, honestly, not that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were rumors out there that the Flyers are interested in him. I don't see that. Will Sorokin get a bridge deal? Yes.
Yeah.
He will get a bridge deal.
And then he'll win the Vezina.
He's going to win the Vezina for the next 5 years. He
can't win the Calder.
No,
he's the best goalie in the NHL.
That's off the table.
You got 5 straight year Vezinas coming up for Sorokin. If Montreal loses to no, they're a team with no French-speaking players. Will that be a first in Montreal? Yes, it will be a first in Montreal.
Well, technically no, because Drouin's still there.
Drouin is still there, and they were saying yesterday when I heard them talk about Drouin that they're excited about him. He's looked really good. They're going to do something. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't trust this question because the guy doesn't have a face. He's probably sending this from Russia. I'm not answering it.
It's a bot.
It is a
how
bot.
legit is that? No, I do not think that is legit at all. Montreal's making
That's a good call, Mike.
Montreal's picked Logan
Melieu. Wow. Okay, so this is very controversial here.
French Canadian.
Remember, this is the player who had a situation with when he was in Sweden with a photo.
Oh,
and so he actually tweeted recently.
Oh my God!
No one to pick him.
He didn't want anybody to choose him, and Montreal chose him
in the first round.
This is very controversial right now.
Whoa!
Can he play? Absolutely, he can play.
Oh my goodness!
But the issue is what happened in Sweden. If he was in Canada, he would have been in trouble with the law. But there's no law for it in Sweden. So
this is crazy.
This is crazy. You want to talk about bad press for something? It's coming.
Yeah, I mean, obviously talented kid. No questions asked. But oh my goodness! Yeah. Wow.
That's. Well, Mark Bergevin will be handling a lot of questions at the post-draft.
Oh, yeah.
Woo.
Like, it's – wow.
Well, Chicago ends the first round.
Blessed be. Let's see if Chicago will end the first round. They'll make a trade, and there'll be something else happening. I don't believe that clock ticking down. Thomas wants to say, do you see McDavid leaving before his contract is up?
Yes. No. I think he's going to end up asking to be traded out of that.
There's a chance of it. I don't think it's happening, but there's a chance of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. So does Montreal sign D'Angelo next? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, no, they were interested in him.
I'm going to go on this pick. On this pick with Chicago, I know a few people there, but I haven't heard anything about who they might draft. But I'm going to go Sean Behrens. He's from the area, and he's in the U.S. program, and he's a really good defenseman, but he's a small defenseman. But if there's a team that needs more defense and guys with upside, he could be a really good fit there.
So this is the pick that Columbus got for Savard, that now was traded today back to Chicago. In the Suter trade.
Are you going to say this in your sleep now?
Trying to.
I do want to tell you one other thing too about Behrens.
Guy who asked not to be picked. This is what I want to know.
Well, all right, hold on. I'm going to just tell you this real quick because I'll forget. Behrens is from Chicago, and he likes thin crust pizza better than deep dish, which I found amazing. That he said
heard he's the baddest man in the whole damn town. No, but how do you pick a player that asked not to be picked? Can I do and what does he do?
Saying his first and last name. That's how you pick him.
It's a photo situation, Nick. If you look it up online, you'll see.
No, I know. I know. I know
about it. Okay.
I know. That's why I know I read the article about him saying, "Don't pick me, don't draft me." I know the whole thing.
Okay.
But so what? How does he react to this? How does Mayu react to this? What does he say? Okay, he can't help. the way this works, he's property of Montreal Canadiens. He can't
renounce my rights. Yeah, no.
He's not going to do that.
The Canadians are going to call him up and say, "Hey, we're friends. It's not so bad." No, I don't see that.
I don't know what's going to happen. I imagine they're just going to, try and hope everybody forgets about it, but they're not going to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of. I mean, it's a bad scene for sure. It's a bad publicity thing. How bad?
It's bad publicity.
How bad is the actual incident still? Like,
it's not great.
It's not great. It is not uncommon though. Like I was talking to my daughter, who's roughly the same age, and she said that this kind of stuff happens a lot. And so that's the weird. She was like, I don't know, he shouldn't ask to not be. It's terrible, but she agreed it was terrible. But she's like, that shouldn't keep him out of the draft.
I will also tell you that in the apology, never said anything to the victim.
Yeah,
and that's another thing that's an issue too.
I am definitely not defending him. Okay, 100%.
No, I know you're not. But I'm just saying that's another issue where. Right, if you make an apology like that, or you make a statement, you should say something about the victim. Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, people are flipping out. I wanted to check in on Habs Twitter.
Yeah,
Montreal Twitter. Yeah, it's definitely. Someone says any positive feelings I had during the playoffs towards Montreal just went out the window. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of people that are upset.
Shameful move. People say. Pretty clear the phrase "hockey is for everyone" doesn't apply to women in Montreal. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of statements like that.
Yeah. Do we think the pick is in? Oh my God. Do we think D'Angelo will get picked up by somebody this year?
Yeah, sure. There's always a team. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Montreal, Montreal could do that. And then, one way to kill a weird story is to open another weird story.
That's true.
We learned that with the last president of the United States. So what was you go in there? Yeah, you kill the Logan Malou story by picking up D'Angelo.
Yeah, right. That'll work. It'll have to be a league minimum deal for.
So is this a women's hockey team? Is this a women's hockey team next to Bowman? I like it if it is.
That's great. That's what that is.
That's awesome.
And on both sides. On both sides.
Yeah. That's great.
I love that they're at the Fifth Third Arena, which is like the Fifth Third Bank, like a bank that doesn't know how to do fractions. You're putting your money at. You're sending your money to a bank that doesn't understand how fractions work.
That's a fair point.
Well, they couldn't name it the 1 2/3 bank.
Right.
Fifth Third. What the hell?
I don't understand.
I know.
Anna's just mad.
Anna thinks it's bullcrap too.
Yeah. I don't know Nolan Allen. Have a good night.
All right. Today I picked Nolan Allen. You don't know Nolan Allen. Okay.
I know.
It's crazy. I mean,
he's not on my radar. Sorry.
Blackhawks always go off.
Yeah. Elvis has left the building.
All right. Well, we're gonna say goodnight. But first, round 2 is tomorrow, 11 a.m., which is 12 hours from now, roughly.
I'll be watching.
We won't be not be doing a show, but we'll definitely be posting on the blog. And I expect a lot of rumors tomorrow for sure, because we saw what happened today.
And the Maple Leafs
says goodbye.
The Maple Leafs have 3 picks, so.
There you go.
Detailed notes on those 3 picks.
I want to thank the 100 and plus of you guys who stuck this thing out with us.
How many texts will Mike send to me asking about the picks? 3. Definitely 3.
Yeah. There you go. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. Thanks, Stella. Good night, everyone.